Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast 332.
After coup. No?
Wow.
It rhymed, so I just...
I guess if you're going to go there with it. Again, welcome, everyone. We are here for our second week of the 2021 new year that we're in. A brave new world.
Is this technically like season 7, episode 2 or something?
I think that would be just about right.
Like,
I mean,
depending on season 1 was a short season and started in November.
All I know is I don't have any Netflix deals coming my way yet.
No, we don't.
You're holding me down. You're holding me back.
And that's funny because everyone gets Netflix deals. We're the only ones that don't.
That's true. Well,
have you seen some of the garbage they put on Netflix?
Actually, I haven't seen too much. But welcome, everyone. Again, podcast 332. Should be a fun one tonight. We're going to have Hunter Thomas of Foundation Disc Golf. He's going to join us in literally just a few moments to talk a little bit about some of the action that he's got going on. And
he's sitting in our Disc Baron digital green room right now.
He is. And with that, he'll be able to break down what we're going to see in here for the new iteration and a little bit of a transformation in the junior grant program. Of course, we've had Hannah and Dustin on here at least a dozen times throughout the last few years as they've kind of broken down, how that's come about and then what it means and all of the details for it. Well, some fresh blood. A new gentleman is going to come in and he's going to shake everything up now. We're going to find out. Honestly, I don't know exactly if there's going to be any major changes or minor changes, but we're going to get to all of that in a few moments. And then I think we're also going to have a one disc, one tip segment, thanks to our friends over at Ace Run Productions. I got to thank those guys over there. I think Felix just had his birthday yesterday, so I may not have caught you on Facebook, but I'm going to get you now, buddy. Happy birthday to Felix. So we're going to have that one disc, one tip segment, and then I think our featured our one tipper, Nate Perkins, is going to actually join us and talk about what's going on with him, and we'll catch up with him.
Extension. Spoiler.
Yes, you're gonna ruin it, like the extensions in your hair. Okay, all right, folks. Without further ado, we're gonna get right to the action. Coming in from our Disc Baron digital green room, Hunter Thomas. Hey, buddy.
How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Happy to be here.
Good to have you. I know you have been very busy. You guys have a ton of things going on, but for anyone who may not know what you have going on or what you're part of, why don't you give everyone a little bit of backstory and information about who you are and what you're doing? Not just with the junior grant, but in general.
Yeah. So you don't know who I am. I'm Hunter Thomas. I'm a co-owner of Foundation Disc Golf alongside Brody Smith and Paul McBeth, who you definitely know who they are.
Name dropper.
I'm a bit more of I'm more of the behind-the-scenes guy, and then, well, I guess I do a lot on YouTube as well, if you've seen our channel. Mm-hmm. But just running the store behind the scenes, and then this year, the main reason I'm here, being able to take on some of the stuff that we look to give back, which not all of it has been announced yet. I don't think I can give you that exclusive, but there's some stuff coming up that I'm pretty excited about.
Okay, well,
yeah, I watched a live stream of you and Brody. I think Brody was on the phone, and you guys had debuted the Undertaker for Brody with the stamp. You didn't actually have the stamp. I think you showed a picture of it though. Throwing a Scooby on a horse. Is he a skeleton? I forget. It's been a little bit. It was a little.
It wasn't it like 2 days ago?
Yeah. It's been a long 2 days, Jerry. No, it was a little longer than that. I think it was last week sometime.
Yeah,
okay.
It was.
Yeah, so.
It was. Yeah, it was last week, I think.
It's been a year, Terry. This week's been a year.
It has been. So, Foundation, you guys are doing a multitude of things. And when I think about when we talked even just a couple years ago, obviously having an online store, looking to do some tournament directing, offering up some tournaments in your area. How do you see that your business plan and or I don't even want to say priorities in a negative way, but has anything changed? What direction and what are you guys trying to accomplish?
I don't think anything's really changed. I think last year COVID kind of shifted our mindset a little bit on it. Obviously running stuff in person, our weeklies basically all got canceled, stuff like that. We were trying to do it with the local scene. So that kind of shifted our mindset and our focus more to our online store and specifically our social media. So I think the way we've kind of went about it might have changed a little bit, but our main focus is still our local scene, like growing that. That's the reason we are called Foundation, is we want to build a strong foundation here. And one of the ways we think we can do that is by using our online presence to draw attention to all the great courses, the great people around here, and just the great Virginia disc golf scene. There's a lot of untapped potential here that we're hoping in the next few years we can bring to light.
Well, it's awesome as we watch pockets of places that I feel like obviously there's growth potential just about everywhere, but some places are just more saturated than others. I don't feel like there's a ton of growth that's still going to happen in the Milwaukee area, for instance. We've got 15 or 20 courses in our area, but we're not going to see any other additional major explosions. And so when you guys are out there, cultivating that area, it's awesome to see. So and then, is it true or not, I kind of lightly throw some jabs once in a while that I can never get Discraft product because it only gets stamped and then sent to you guys to sell? Just tell me if I'm off the mark on that or not.
I wish that was the case. I really do, but no, that's not the case right now.
All right. I feel like you have you guys have a little more direct line than the rest of the public, which I understand with those other fellers you work with. But just know that's all in good fun when I always poke at you guys for that. So last week, I think, is when I was notified for the first time that Hannah and Dustin have stepped back. They've obviously, as you just mentioned, with COVID, everyone's priorities either are jumbled or are getting more straightened in one way or another. But it sounds like they're stepping back from hosting the Junior Grant program. What was the conversation like, and had you been involved in the past, and how did the conversations come about that you guys started talking about you potentially taking it over?
Yeah, so in the past, we've just been like a sponsor of it. We've donated, I think, gift cards and stuff like that. We've also done some giveaways through Eagles Wings. If you go far enough back, I've been super close with Dustin with the Eagles Wings. I even went to Zambia back in 2016 with them, so I've had a long relationship with them. And as we headed into this year, I think one of the big things for Dustin was there's a lot more kind of coming onto his plate. And in addition to that, they weren't able to fulfill a lot of last year's Junior Grant benefits because it required Juniors Worlds to actually happen. So the winners from last year are still getting that this year. And so it would have basically been, Dustin would have had to have 12 winners instead of 6 winners to take care of. And it was just starting to get a lot on his plate with it. And so he approached us about it and just kind of was like, hey, if we gave this up, would you be interested in it? That was the first conversation we had. And I was like, absolutely. And then we talked through it a little bit more, what it would look like. He kind of gave us some numbers on applications to expect and stuff like that, and the amount of work that's going to go in behind the scenes to make sure we were all in on it, which we were. And yeah, from there, just kind of slowly transitioned. He gave us contacts to most of the people they'd worked with in the past, and we were able to get a lot of people back on board, bring in a few new benefits, and then kind of set the base this year, learn from this year, and then hopefully grow it in the future.
So one of the big components, obviously, as you're just mentioning, whether it's AM Worlds, Junior Worlds, and big events and whatnot for these players to go to, last year we didn't see the final year of 3 take place at in Emporia. So the Junior Worlds is now slated. It got postponed like all of our other majors. Got postponed to this year, of course. Are the grants specific to Junior Worlds or AM Worlds, or is there kind of a crossover because obviously you can be amateur but be at the AM Worlds as opposed to be at Junior Worlds? Where does that crossover in those ages come into play?
Yeah, so this grant is specific to Junior Worlds.
Okay.
So one of the biggest features of it is actually the paid entry fee to Junior Worlds on top of $100 in travel expenses for them. And so this is really just geared towards juniors. That was one area that personally I felt like we had missed the mark in a lot of our marketing and stuff like that. We just weren't marketing towards juniors. We weren't finding ways to create junior leagues and stuff like that. And this felt like a good way to kind of get our foot in the door and start exploring that realm a little bit more, especially as that's something we hope to kind of grow in this area. And so I felt like this was a great opportunity for us to kind of get our name out there with some of these juniors and get some feelers out in the market to kind of see what we can do better and how we can, grow the game for them, since obviously they're the next generation of disc golfers.
This might not be, you might not be able to answer it being your first year, but I'd love to know who finds the program first usually. Is it, diehard competitors and kids that are out there, trying to get into these events, or is it their parents that are on the internet that stumble upon it? I wonder who really finds the opportunity first. If
Probably
it's the
depends
kids?
on how old the kid is.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I would say so far this year, it's been exactly what he said. Is the parents will find, if they're like 12 or under, it's the parent finding it, obviously. And then we've had a number of 15 to 18-year-olds reaching out to some of them, just started playing this year, and so they're not eligible for Junior Worlds, and that's a big part of the Junior Grant. So unfortunately, that does not make you eligible. We want people who are going to Junior Worlds, and this is going to help them get there and then give them everything they need, disc-wise, just tons of swag packs from a bunch of different partners, which I'll probably go over that in a minute, but tons of different stuff that'll, really incentivize them to go there. So that's been one of the big questions, especially in that like 15 to 18 age range. Is like, we just got into the sport. Can we apply? And I'm like, you're more than welcome to, but you're going to have to qualify for Junior Worlds before you win the grant, if it got that far.
Well, so here, the one thing I want to throw out quickly, and then let's get into the actual specifics for you. One announcement that I believe was made, I forget when, but it was made at some point from the Pdga that basically stated, just like I feel like you find in schools and colleges and whatnot, if you were planning to go to Junior Worlds last year, and then you either moved into a higher division or you just were too old in general, for this year, there's really no grace or flexibility on that. If you were 19 last year and you were planning to go and you're 20 now, you're just flat out not eligible. And of course, we all know that sucks to some degree. All of COVID sucks, but just like the kids that, graduated high school and, or they were redshirted or whatever, all those other kinds of, special exceptions. So I just want to throw that out there, that there was no leniency really to say, okay, well, hey, you had a good chance to win the 15 and under and you're 16, so now you get to still go play it. That's not the case. You have to move up a division. So I wanted to throw that out there. Now, let's get right to the specifics. I know all the parents are dying to hear. Let's start with who should be applying. Like specifically, what individuals are you looking for? What kind of criteria?
I mean, really, if the biggest criteria is, like I said, the being eligible for Junior Worlds. We're going to be accepting a wide variety of age ranges into this Junior Grant. There's not really any specific age bracket we're looking for. We're just looking for people that are, one of the big things for us is very involved in their local community, and looking for ways to grow their local scene, invest in their courses. We don't want, just a random player that went and played a few tournaments and they're not that invested in the local disc golf scene. They're not super serious about disc golf. That's not going to be the type of player that we're looking for. We want players who are really invested, doing all they can for their local scene. I know several juniors have reached out that actually do junior leagues, run them with their parents and stuff like that. Those type of players are, perfect. That's what we're looking for. We want to invest in people that are investing in the sport, so that they continue to be hooked. And those are the people that we're going to want 10, 15 years from now to still be hooked on the sport. So that's kind of the idea behind it. But as far as age range and stuff like that, there's no specific age range that we're favoring one over the other.
All right. So if there is a 7-year-old that has orchestrated course cleanup days, for, I don't know, 6 out of the 12 months, and there's a 17-year-old that is running a league at his school, like anywhere and everything in between, what are some other good examples of types of things you've seen from people? And I just kind of made up 2 there, but what are some of the other types of examples you've seen of being invested and pushing the sport forward? Any other examples come to mind that you like or have seen?
Yeah, I think one of the big things, because not everyone's organizer or like an
Hmm.
event planner or something like that, but a lot of people are doers. And so some of the big things have been, just talking about how involved they are in their local club, putting courses in, showing up to work days. I know at our local club that's something that can be a struggle. So seeing, juniors who their parents are able to take them to work days and show them kind of, why this park looks so nice is because of these people putting in all these hours and stuff like that. That goes just as far in my head as the people actually organizing leagues and stuff like that, because both are required in the disc golf community to keep it growing the way it is.
Okay. Trying to think of what other examples. Of course, any kind of course improvements. If
There's
you're
always
an
the
Eagle
Boy
Scout or a
Eagle
Boy
Scout,
Scout, Girl
building
Scout,
benches and things.
maybe someone that helps collects discs and then sends them overseas or sends them to other schools or countries. That might be an example of a way.
This time of year, getting out there and shoveling pads every
Yeah.
time it snows.
Shoveling you're the designated tee pad shoveler.
right.
Okay. How many kids are eligible or winners are eligible this year? Or I'm not sorry, eligible. How many will be awarded this year?
We'll be picking 6 winners this year.
Okay.
We stuck this year's format and criteria and everything is very similar to Eagles Wings in the past. Since it was our first year taking over, we felt it was easiest just to transition that way. That way, if I had questions for Dustin, it wasn't like I created this whole new system and then, if I have a question, I'm the only one that can answer it. We kind of mimicked what they did. So that way, if issues arose or I had questions about it, I could just call up Dustin and be like, hey, did you run into this? And most likely he did in the several years they ran it. And can kind of guide me through that. So it's a very similar format this year, same amount of winners as they've done in the past. But that's something that in the future we will hopefully expand upon and be able to offer this to more and more players.
And then, true or not, that is it Dustin or Hannah that just don't like kids anymore? That's why they backed off. Is there one of the two that?
I did not hear that rumor.
Oh,
No.
okay. All right. Well, maybe I make stuff up. But to bring this actually even with them and then full circle, a lot of this I think stems from Nate Doss kind of having this vision and idea, and then originally kind of working with them, and it's so cool I think to see that legacy, so to speak, or that idea and concept kind of just continue to get passed on from, at this point, kind of from like class to class or generation to generation in a
Feels
sense,
like it.
which has been incredible. Now, as you're saying, if I recall in years past, there's really quite an extensive process to kind of whittling down. Can you kind of describe what that looks like before you get to your 6 winners?
Yeah, so the process all starts if you go to our site, foundationdisc.com, and scroll to the very bottom. There's a little link that says Junior Grant, and then there's within that link Apply Now button, and basically that'll take you. The application is hosted on our site. I believe I'm actually going to scroll through right now so I don't mess this one up. I think there's
good.
like about 7 or 8 questions. Yeah, it looks actually there's less than that. There's like 4 or 5 essay questions. And so the longer and more thorough you can go in detail there, the better on our end, because it gives us a better picture into who these players are applying. But there's also the option to submit a video if players would rather do that. Some players feel like that allows them to better express themselves, and there's no real preference on our end, one over the other. We're not going to favor videos over essays or vice versa. So, and then on top of that, we do require a reference. So it's got to be a Pdga member somewhere in your state that can be a reference. And once we won't be contacting every single applicant's reference, but once we get to the finals, we will be contacting them, and then the reference will have an additional, few question survey just about the player to kind of confirm that what they're saying on the application is true. So that way we don't get someone who is saying that they're the greatest person on earth and the most serviceable person, and then it turns out that's not true. I don't expect that to happen. But if it did, that's just kind of the fail-safe there.
I mean, disc golf, that would really be an indicator that disc golf has made it when we've got 10-year-olds, jacking up their resume to try and win some action to get to Emporia. I mean, all of that, it just sounds, yeah. So Junior Worlds at 7th through the 10th, or maybe 5th through the 10th of July. Is any of that, or 7th through the 12th, or any of that ring a bell? 5th through the, I don't know, July. Early July, I believe. And DD, we know, is going to be a tremendous host, as they always are. Emporia, incredible host and great place to be. Do you guys have representatives that will kind of be there from the process? Isn't there a dinner and such that goes on? How does that all work?
So the dinner was nixed this year just because with COVID, we're not sure what it's all going to look like. Once we actually get to that point, hopefully it's fine, but there's no way to actually know. But hopefully we haven't made it official if we will be present there or not. I believe Eagles Wings will have a presence of some type. So no matter what, we will have a representative there through them. But we're still considering, making the trek out there with us, that we can be there with the grant winners as well. But we haven't officially decided one way or the other yet.
And so we keep talking about them. What is this disc golf rich that these kids are going to become? What are some of the things? I know we've talked about the support throughout all these years, and you've got a lot of these people back, and probably some new ones you mentioned. What are people out there jacking up their resumes for? What can they win?
Yes. So each 6 winners will be getting their entry fee paid for Junior Worlds, plus $100 towards travel expenses. Bushnell partnered with us and put up a Sport 850 rangefinder for each of them. We will be putting up just a swag pack that also includes a signed disc by Paul and a signed disc by Brody. The Pdga was brought back their 1 year of membership for these players, so each of them will get their 2022 membership will be covered by the Pdga. Jomez donated like a swag pack of, I think it's like a $50 value. I'm sure they'll just have like some apparel and some sick stuff from them. Dynamic Discs is going to be offering a warehouse tour by one of the DD pros. That's an ongoing benefit as well. We'll be doing a video call with each of them. So it'll be me, Trevor, Paul, and Brody, and then probably all 6 winners, just kind of a Q&A. Hopefully that'll allow them to kind of talk to Paul and talk to Brody. If they want to talk to us, they can. We'll be in the room. But basically ask like what to expect at a major and stuff like that. Because a lot of kids, this can be their first Worlds. And to be able to talk to Paul, I think that's a pretty invaluable one. Paragon Disc Golf is offering up a custom polo, so it'll have our logo on the front and then their last name on the back. So I feel like that's a pretty sweet one. And then Eagles Wings Disc Golf is offering up a swag pack with like a hat and different stuff like that in it as well. And that's all we have so far, but we're still in talks with several other partners. So this list is going to continue growing until the day March 12th, when we actually announce it and start giving all this stuff out.
Okay, and then that was going to be my next question. Give some specifics. I know you said it's all on the website, so even if you read it off there for all our audio listeners, give us some specifics about opening and closing and deadline and finalizing and all that stuff.
Yeah, so applications are open now. They opened the 8th, so 4 days ago from right now. But they'll close February 12th, and then we'll have a month-long review process. And March 12th, we'll be announcing the 6 winners.
Okay, so today is January 12th for all those listening. So 1 month will be, like you said, February 12th is when they close, and then by March 12th is when the decisions will be made. Okay.
Exactly.
And then somewhere in July is is it on there, Johnny? I know you got the website up. Is it show?
I don't believe I'm on the foundation website.
I'm going to go to pdga.com and type in Junior Worlds 2021. Just because I keep
really know this date.
Yeah, 7th through the 10th. Oh my gosh!
You
I was right. I was right the first time. Dang!
You should have just said it with confidence.
Well, some say I talk too much. I don't. All right. So July 7th through the 10th is what it is listed for Emporia, Kansas. Of course, Doug Bjorkis, Jeremy Rusko listed as your tournament director and your assistant tournament director. So, which is really cool. I can't say it enough. I've been there the last couple of years at the Junior Worlds. It's been such an incredible week. We've had so many of our players, not just a Paul, but also you've seen literally dozens and dozens of players that, find themselves either at an AM Worlds and or a Junior Worlds. And the excitement that these kids have, not only to be there and to have their own experience, but then to potentially run into some of our top and most elite players and pros is definitely incredible. So, all right. Are there any other details that we've left out? I feel like we've hit on a lot of them, but is there anything that we're missing, or you're calling for more sponsorships can be available, is what you're saying, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So if there's
Okay.
anyone listening that wants to be a part of it, they can reach out to us on any of our social media or email us, and we would love to, add some more stuff to this. But yeah, I think as far as the details go, I think we covered all of it. And if there's anything we missed, it should be on the website.
Awesome.
Yep, you can go to foundationdiscs.com, scroll to the very bottom. There's a link for Junior Grant.
All right, and if we can, we'll try and remember to put that in the notes here of the YouTube page, at least, so somebody could find that easily and click on it. So we got the dates. We've got all those details. 6 winners. Everybody can get out there and get on it. What else is going on in the world, whether it be foundation or disc golf in the area or 2021 planning? Anything else that you want to share with us that you got going on?
Yeah, we actually just finalized and announced the dates today for our big B tier that we run every year, the Battle for Bedford. It's going to be September 17th through the 19th, and this year we're going to have $10,000 added cash. So we're pretty stoked about that. It's going to be the feature course for the MPO. It's actually going to be not Paul's home course, but one of his signature courses in the area. It is a beast. I'm naming it the Beast of the East. I don't know if that's going to catch or not, but my arm hurts just walking that thing. I am stoked to watch the pros play it, and I'm hoping by the timeline it falls in and with that added cash, we're able to get some big names in there.
I always have a problem. I think there's, no offense, there's too many courses nicknamed the Beast at this point.
Can they all be? Yeah. Well, to be fair, Brazos East is like just a really good, clever play on.
I get it.
On where it is. So I really do love that one. And then obviously the Beast over in Europe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean,
I agree. There's too many. That's why I nicknamed it that. I think it's funny that we just call every hard course in disc golf Beast.
The Beast. Yeah, we'll have to come up with something better.
So big B tier, obviously with that kind of added cash and that kind of effort, is there then plans to grow into an A tier, a pro tour, a silver series, a regular stop? What's the longer term plan there?
I mean, definitely an A tier. We applied this year, but the Pdga, I think there was such a massive insurgence of applications. They said it was a minimum of 3 years, and this is our 3rd year running it. Okay. So hopefully by next year we're able to get that A tier status, and we've been in talks with the Pro Tour about hopefully in the future making this at least a Silver Series stop, if not able to get it as a full-fledged stop.
Yeah, is there signal to host a live internet broadcast?
The new course is the cell signal is immaculate. You would love it.
Okay. I mean, nothing gets me excited like good cell towers. I love those erected everywhere. It's great. No? Okay.
Moving on.
Yeah. What else is going on? I know I kind of give you a hard time about inventory and whatnot before, but you guys are obviously offering up plenty of discs and such on the website. What kind of challenges have you guys had in terms of inventory and just the overall customer service with everybody? I mean, your demand's got to be through the roof like everyone else. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're just having the same issues everyone is. The COVID shutdowns, I think, hit disc golf in a unique way, because not only did it shut down production of the discs, but it also exploded the popularity of our sport to where we don't really know what the demand truly is right now, because no one has had the inventory to match the demand yet. So it's a very interesting time because, I feel like no matter what site or what manufacturer you're looking for, it's kind of hard to find stuff. So that makes the demand and the hype for when restocks hit way more than it's ever been in the past. So it's hard to see if it's like fake demand or if disc golf has actually grown that much this year. And I don't think we'll really know until we get just full discs back on the shelf. Then we'll be able to kind of tell when the dust settles where we're actually at. But, it sounds weird saying that not being able to keep discs on the shelf is an issue. But that's just the world. That's just the way it is right now. It's just that's the problem we're kind of facing is discs are going out faster than they can come in, and that's just going to be the way it is for a little bit until everything kind of recovers.
Yeah, and that question was just posed this weekend. I was having that conversation about, we don't have a control, like one single control as to the influx. If it was exclusively COVID, if disc golf's just growing, if Brody himself brought in 20 million new players or 2 or whatever the number is, like we don't have one thing because obviously COVID threw that all for a loop. So we know maybe it's all of them that have factored in to some degree. We just don't know how much. And who knows when it's going to be like, oh yeah, you can just call up and get anything you want from any manufacturer. I think we're a long way off from that yet.
Yeah, that could be another 6-8 months if that.
Oh, minimum, I think.
Yeah. It's going to be a while. It's definitely a process, but we're trying to figure out kind of the systems of ways to keep discs on the shelf for longer, or if it's getting inventory in and slowly putting it on the site so that those molds can at least be on the site longer. I don't know. There's different ways we're trying to work around it, but at the end of the day, it's just a issue that's gonna be around for a little bit.
And dare we all say a good problem to have?
Still a problem.
It's still a problem. But
there's a lot worse problems to have. That is for sure.
That is a good way to put it. All right. Well, if you want to give us any final plugs or details or info or updates, feel free. The floor is yours. Whether it's related to the grant program or foundation or whatever, please do before we let you go.
Yeah, just check us out on all of the social media, Foundation Disc Golf, pretty much across the board on all of that. If you're interested in the junior grant, like I said, foundationdisc.com. Scroll to the bottom, and there should be a link for junior grant there, and you can find all the information. And as more updates become available on that, we'll be posting on all of our social media as well. And then, there should be a few more announcements coming out in the next week or so that I'm pretty stoked about. It's a little bit more local stuff. I'll give you that hint. But I think it's going to be. I think 2021 is going to be a pretty big year.
All right. Well, looking forward to it. Thanks for all the I'll pre-thank you, because I know, going through those applications, which could be dozens or hundreds, and then whittling them down to, the 6 people or the finalists and then the 6 people, I know is no easy task, and you guys are always very diligent about it, and there's a lot of work that is involved with it. And as the sport grows, those applications are getting more and more, not only plentiful, but also more solid year after year after year. And so, again, I'll thank you and the entire committee and crew, everyone that's going to take that on, as I know that was a tall task to take over this year. So I'll thank you for that. And as always, thank you for all the other updates. And I'm sure one way or another, we'll run into you guys out on the socials, and maybe even in Virginia or somewhere. Who knows? One way or another.
Perfect.
All right, man. See you, Hunter. Good talking to you.
Nice night, man.
Yeah.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
And there we go. Again, head out to Foundation. That is definitely going to be your easiest point of reference for everything we were just talking about, and then some. They do have a lot of different things going on, but if you scroll down to the bottom of that page specifically, that's where you will find a link for Junior Grant. So click on that and get yourself, probably your kid, going on that application process.
You better have a good kid, though.
It sounds like it. I don't think. Yeah.
Maybe in about another hour or two, your kid will chime in and find out if she's.
Yeah.
When she complains that her internet's been turned off.
Exactly. Which actually probably just happened 5 minutes ago. So I expect my 9-year-old to jump on the chat here, one way or another, and start begging for the internet to get turned back on. So again, please go check it out. And I'll reiterate, as we do every year, thank you to all the supporters and sponsors. I'm sure Smashbox will find a way to kick in or help support that as well. But all the supporters and sponsors that have made it happen, and the way that Dustin and Hannah have really championed that entire project along with the committee throughout the years, and then taking and pulling from that vision that Nate had, and I know he worked hand in hand with it as well. So awesome to see everything continue to move forward. So All right. We got the likes. Lots of our regulars out on the board, which are awesome to see so many of you. And even Hannah Macbeth out there as well chiming in. She said she's going to register her dog, Harrison, but yet I feel like I saw her post earlier in the day and say her dog is not well behaved on the course. So, I mean, I'm not going to pre-disqualify him, but
There goes all her references.
yeah, exactly. I don't know how that's going to work. All right, so we could talk about some other things going on in the sport and around the horn. I'm going to also reach out to Nate Perkins and see if he's going to be ready to go here shortly. Hopefully, we'll get in touch with him. I know Nate was working on some van renovations, not for himself this time, but I know he's been doing some work. I think he was down in Texas doing some work, so I'm going to reach out to him. I was going to say, if you got some PDGA news or announcements, you start there.
Straight from the PDGA, we see that they're if you're a senior accountant, they're hiring a senior accountant right now.
Does that mean older or does that mean experienced?
Both.
Do those go hand in hand?
They might go hand in hand.
Okay.
I bet you could be a senior accountant and be like 28, 29.
Okay.
Anyway, they also updated the player ratings on January 12th, so that was today, about 14 hours ago. I don't think we really see any big movement. Not much has really happened over the last couple weeks. The announcement that NBDG Media is going to be covering the 2021 PDGA Euro Tour. So I think some of you have had some experience with the NBDG crew. I know you have yourself, Terry.
Yep. Juha and the crew that he's really assembled over in maybe a little more than the last year or so. It was almost exactly a year ago. He volunteered to help me out on Catch Cam when I had covered one of the events in Florida.
So you're saying you taught him everything he knows.
And then a couple weeks later, he's got the same cameras with the same microphone, same everything, and he starts a production company and calls himself the Finnish disc golf guy. No. There is a Danish disc golf guy. I'm watching you, pal. Don't you worry. But
I think you've had your fair share of Danishes, though, too.
Hey-o.
Hey!
Yeah, maybe. Is there a Swedish fish disc golf guy, too? No. Yeah, very cool. I saw that. I think that was just announced in the last day or two. I know I saw that late last night. So, and he's been working on their crew has been working on, I think they're doing like an entire series and just a ton of competitions and things that are unfolding right now that they've been doing in interviews and whatnot. So I trust that we're going to see some good stuff taking place over there. So very cool. And apparently I'm not needed.
Not needed, Terry. I'm
whatever.
Sorry. Other than that, that's kind of it for PDGA news. There were a few events that were run this past weekend. The Dynamic Disc Presents Straddle at the Brazos. Speaking of Waco,
held at
Texas,
that beastly course.
The beast of a course. And a beast in himself, Emerson Keith, takes this one. It was a three-way tie. Oh, wait a minute. I take that back. Maybe it was canceled. Maybe round 2 was canceled because of the snow or something, because they only have round 1 on here. It was a three-way tie for first. It looks like they all split at 11 because round 2 was never completed, or they're waiting. So it's possible that
they're out there waiting out the snow right now.
They're waiting out the snow right now. I'm just going to say that congratulations to Emerson Keith, Landon Knight, and GT Hancock in the Open division. In the Open Women division, Chrissy Fountain takes this one down, besting Caitlin Belty and Stephanie Vincent. So congratulations. A little further east, over in Florida, Estero, Florida, that is, we saw the Sun King and then the EDGC present the Estero Open 6. Charlie Goodpasture wins this by more than 2 handfuls. 12 strokes over Cole Wareheim and Kelly Bedell. And there was no FPO field in this one. So
Ellen wasn't there to win it?
Ellen was not there. So shout out to Rick Bates, Pro Masters 50+. You're next on the list that I'm going to announce. So congratulations on winning your division. I believe that is all of our pro B tiers that we see. Next week we have our first A tier of this. Oh, I'm sorry. There was a NADG A tier. This will be our first pro A tier coming up, which will be the Shelly Sharp Memorial presented by Spinners on the Green. I might know a guy that's going to be there. I might know a few people that are going to be there, but I know one that's sitting next to
Anthony
me.
Barella?
He'll probably be there.
He'll be there. Fellow Wisconsinite, Adam Hammis? He'll be there.
He'll be there.
Jordan Castro, who's on the board? He'll be there.
That sounds like a great card to film, Terry Miller.
I don't know. Click on it. I don't know if the tee times have been officially released. I know that they were working on them, and hopefully we're going to have a couple of potential feature cards first round. So
Adam Hammis, Drew Gibson, Anthony Barella, Austin Hoop, Jordan Castro, Cameron Messerschmitt. I feel like Cameron is an odd name to have in that one. He's up in Vancouver, Washington. So it's just not an event that I don't think he normally goes to, is it?
He gets around, and I talked to him during the virtual putting invitational, which we'll talk about more in a minute. But he'll go anywhere. He basically said, "I'm not afraid to drive 8 or 10 or 15 hours to go play the next big event," and definitely one of the most touring players you have out there, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah. So those are some of the big names we see at this upcoming week's event.
Yes.
And there is your daughter. Hi, Dad.
Oh, you know what? Had she played better in the card game we played either tonight or last night, then Kenzie, you would have earned a little more internet time. But you're gonna have to go study up how to beat me in the game we played instead.
What game did you play?
We played Bold, which is. It's essentially a game of it's really just memory with more options of things to match up.
All right,
is really what it was, but it's a lot of fun. We had a good time with it last night, especially her and I. So also real quick, I know last week I briefly touched on the WIFs series over in Indiana and all the great things that they're doing, raising money for food banks, for Toys for Tots type programs, all the different things. This weekend I also decided to make the venture down to Markle. That's Markle, Indiana, and again, another great event. They raised a ton of money. I want to say the ace pool again was not hit. And this time it was it 3 or 4 or 500? It was I think 330 maybe. It was a substantial amount of money that got donated to the local food pantry. There were hundreds and hundreds of items that were brought in for the food pantry, and so I cannot say it enough how awesome it is to see what they're doing. And I'll regurgitate what I said last week. They have 22 events that are taking place in the kind of the first quarter of the year, and this has grown throughout the years into what it is in Indiana. And a huge shout out to everything that those guys are doing, and I'll double down on that and again say thank you to anyone that picked up some merchandise or some product or whatever this weekend, or chatted with me or made a contribution, whatever the case might be. Thank you to everyone. Really fun course. Those guys are doing great things. William, Buffy, just Mike, the whole crew down there, everybody working really hard. So huge shout out. And if you have a chance to support any of the WIFs series to go out, they're all supporting local charity programs in that given area, and the Pdga works with them, and it's just truly incredible. So very, very cool to see out there.
William Moyer on the board says over $1,900 to the food pantry.
Wow, there you go. Thank you. Thanks for the details. Yeah, $1,900, and
this is the time of year we are seeing a lot of the ice bowls, or the big freeze as we call it here in Milwaukee, where they do a lot of people do this type of donation to food banks, whether it's food or cash or clothing. There's all sorts of different things. So if you have one, if you're eager to play, take a look around your area to find an ice bowl and help help run it. If there's not one in your area, start one up, and if not, go play and bring some donations to that.
32. I'm sending another message out. I feel like the conversation that I had with Nate earlier, Nate Perkins, maybe I wasn't as crystal clear. So if there's any delay, I'm going to take the blame on that. But hopefully we'll get him here soon. So yes, just to button up what you said, Johnny, please go out and support it in any way you can. Someone like myself, I didn't bring any food items, and then I always, in the back of my head, it's like, well, I'm just going to buy extra raffle tickets in that case, knowing that money also usually goes so much further. In this case, further? I think it's in this case. Goes so much further than even the items. But to hear that over $1,900 contributed is incredible. Awesome to see that.
Well, let's take a quick break here.
Okay.
And we have an Ace Run Productions One Disc One Tip with Nate Perkins himself. So hopefully, while this runs, maybe we can wrangle him up. If not, we'll fill some time while we do that.
I've got some other stuff for you.
There's
Don't
stuff
worry.
we can talk about. So once again, thanks to Ace Run Productions. Here is Nate Perkins, One Disc One Tip.
Hey everybody, it's Felix with Ace Run Productions. We are back with another One Disc, One Tip segment. Today we've got Discmania sponsored pro, Mr. Nate Perkins.
How you doing?
Doing good. Nate, thank you so much for taking the time out to film this segment with us.
Yeah.
Thank you, SmashBoxx, for continuing to air these segments here. And Nate, we just want to get right into it. How long have you been out here playing the sport of disc golf?
Yeah, so my dad actually took me out to play when I was a toddler. I think I was 7 years old. The first time I remember like hitting a putt and being excited about it. So the late 90s. I didn't get back into it until college. I watched a couple YouTube videos of Ricky and Paul playing and signed up for the Pdga right away. Played the Collegiate National Championships, was my first event, and I've been hooked ever since. Incredibly thankful for the sport of disc golf.
Yeah, so you jumped into the big time pretty much right away, going with
Yeah,
the event.
right away, yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Well, your wealth of knowledge, you've been playing the game for so many years now. Sponsored by Discmania, you've got your choice of a lot of different discs to pick from.
Yeah.
If you could pick one disc that's in your bag now that you think can fit anybody's game from beginner all the way up to pro, what disc would that be?
Yeah, for me, that's an easy question. Throwing straight is kind of like one of the harder things to do in disc golf, but it's also one of the best skills you can have. The Discmania Night Strike, the Color Glow FD is my signature disc with the company, and it's just really a neutral disc. You know, it's the first disc that I got to see hyzer flip up and fly straight. So this is the disc I would recommend anyone to get to throw straight.
Yeah, straight shots are
Yeah,
so hard to execute and so valuable in this game.
for sure.
Definitely a good disc to have. Switching gears here, if you could think of one tip again, going back, that can maybe help anybody from beginner all the way up to pro on the mental side, physical side, what do you think that tip would be?
One tip, okay. The one tip that I have to offer for aspiring disc golfers would be your hips, okay? So it's very easy to imagine throwing at a target and facing your target, right? But in disc golf, we need to face away from our target. The idea of us moving forward on the tee pad is to build up that momentum. But to be able to use that momentum to then throw far, you need to be facing, if our target's this way toward the camera, I need to be facing away from the target so that I can draw straight across my chest without rotating my hips out, right? That's how we use that momentum. So you need to step across your body and drive the weight from your back leg into that front leg if you're trying to throw further. That's my tip.
Everybody always asks, how can I throw further? What can I do? How can I gain distance?
It's the hips.
It's the hips.
The orientation of the hips. Face away from your target and step across your body.
There you go. Big tip there from a touring pro. You can't ask for better than that. So thank you so much, Nate.
Yeah, thanks for
taking
having
the
me.
time out, of
Yeah,
course.
thanks SmashBoxx.
Yes, thank you SmashBoxx for airing these. And Nate, take a moment to thank your sponsors and let these guys know where they can follow along on your social media.
Sure. Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at Perks of Disc Golf. Just all about, like, you know, my life on the road. I've been living out of a van for the past 5 years, and honestly, it's been the best 5 years of my life. I'd like to thank Discmania for helping me, you know, live out my dream on the road. OTB Discs. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks again, Nate, for taking the time out to do this segment with us. Thank you, as always, SmashBoxx and from Ace Run Productions. Let's get excited for some disc golf.
All righty. Well, welcome back, everyone. Again, thank you to Ace Run Productions. along with Nate Perkins for giving us the one tip, the hips. Can you talk about hips without mentioning Shakira? It's just not even possible.
No, these hips don't lie.
No, I know. I feel like we're dating ourselves. There's some people who may not even get, plenty of people who won't get that reference, sadly
They
enough.
should. I mean, it's not that old, is it?
It is.
12 years?
Oh, at least.
More than that? Please don't tell me it's more than that.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Shakira. I'm going to say, oh, gosh. I'm going to go 2005. Everyone in the board, we'll give it a moment before Johnny officially Googles it, and we post it out there. 2005 would have been my guess. What do you got?
2005.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I should be happy that I knew that. Oh, yeah. So if you're 26 and watching or listening,
They were 10 years old when that came out?
Yeah, you might not be getting those references. Anyway, well, Ace Run had guessed 2001. All right, so while we see if we can still track down Nate, I've extended a message to him. We'll see if we can get him in here again one more time. Thank you for that from Ace Run. And once again, happy birthday, Felix.
And I was going to say, while we wait for Nate, do you want to talk a little bit about what you did this past weekend? Or no, was it 2 weekends ago with the VPI?
Oh,
with
yeah,
virtual
sure.
Putting?
Yeah, we'll do that. And then we're going to get to best shot of the week or something like that. We're going to have more giveaways, which is just incredible. You're going to have to work for this one, but you're going to have a giveaway. We'll get to that in a moment. Last week, just, 4 or 5 days ago now, Virtual Putting Invitational taking place on Disc Golf Network. And I want to pull up the actual, maybe Johnny could even pull up a graphic or two. I'll put you to work there so we can read it and show everybody on screen. But the Virtual Putting Invitational second year or second iteration, I guess it's technically not the second year, but it's the second iteration of it taking place. And we already had 8, 16, 30, I don't know. We had a whole bunch of matches that have gone down in the last Thursday and Friday. And so now everyone's moving into the next round, which is taking place starting tomorrow night, which is Wednesday, Thursday, and then the finals on Friday are taking place. So I'm going to head out to Disc Golf. I want to make sure I get this right, which is a pretty big deal for me. I'm going to head over to the Facebook page, I think is where we maybe can find some more information. Here we go. So Wednesday night, the 13th of January here, we have the lineup. Here's the Elite 8, and this is for Eastern times. 6 o'clock Eastern, Chandler Fry against Thomas Gilbert. 20 minutes later, Christine Jennings going up against Kona Panis. Then we have Matt Bell against Cam Messerschmitt. And
that is a match to watch if you're Cameron Messerschmitt, known as one of the best long-distance putters, and Matt Bell, just known as one of the best putters.
Exactly. So I'm expecting a little bit of fireworks and some hopefully some hot and heavy scoring by those two. Then we have Haley King going up against Rebecca Cox. And I think back to Rebecca's match, she had gone up as a little bit of an underdog to Missy Gannon, who, of course, many know as such one of our most proficient putters out there in the FPO division. But Rebecca Cox got past her, and now things aren't getting any easier because now she goes up against Haley King. Over at 7:20 Eastern, we got Chris Dickerson against Colton Montgomery. Chris Dickerson, I remember, had taken down Paul Ulibarri in a really good battle there that they had. And Colton, trying to remember who he took down, but Colton moved on, and you see him going up against the C-Dick Slayer. Owen Scoggins, who put up...
I'll say she put up 39 points or something?
39, I want to say, during that first round.
One of the 2 matches I actually got a chance to sit and watch, and I was like, oh, Owen's here. And I believe they moved all the spots 5 feet closer for the women.
For the women, they basically
start at 25.
Yeah, they moved moved really the station. They created one shorter station and took away the longest. So they shifted it by 5 feet.
But it was so impressive watching Owen just drain these 35 and 40-foot putts, just one after the other. And I sat there, and I think I even messaged you. And
You said she's deadly.
Yeah,
and she
Owen
is.
is deadly from this distance, and it was just so much fun watching her. So it's hard not to put money on her when she can drain those long distance putts.
She is incredible to watch. So she's gonna have a great battle against Lisa Fakis. Is how that should shake out, the two of them, and then women's defending champ. From the VPI1 is Heather Young. She's going up against Kat Murch. Kat Murch, I know, for instance, had taken down Madison Walker, who had just kind of snuck in there. So Heather taking on Kat Murch. And then our final matchup of that evening, tomorrow night evening, whatever, 8:20 Eastern is Ricky Wysocki against Thomas Earhart. So, and I think Thomas had taken down Simon, if I recall. So Ricky versus Thomas.
How many of these putters are in cold weather areas? There's a few of them.
No, there's been quite a few. Like, for instance, I remember watching, Thomas Gilbert. Sorry, as I see he's going up against Chandler Fry in the first matchup. Thomas Gilbert was going up against Johnny McRae, and so Thomas is in Canada, McRae's in Florida, and you're like, yeah, those are different conditions.
And he won.
Yeah, he did. And so also, if you don't know already, of course, it's all on Disc Golf Network. Go check it out. Your subscription gets you in there. If both players can be indoors, as in they both have access to a facility to be indoors, then they can do it indoors. And of course, if only one can and the other can't, then not so much. But if both players can find an indoor facility to be in, that's why you see a few of them have been indoors, but most of them have been outside, and of course, dealing with the inclement weather. Sometimes inclement weather. Holly Finley, for instance, I think she had more snow than anyone else. She's here in Wisconsin. She was over in the Madison area. Her address, no, I'm just kidding. But Holly was dealing with probably almost a good 8 to 12 inches of snow on the ground, and highs in the high 20s. So everyone's conditions just a bit different. So we'll see how that shakes out. So make sure you're watching that. And then, of course, whoever moves on from there, you see then go into Friday or Thursday night's action. I'm going to get all these right. Goes into Thursday night's action, and then it finally dwindles down to championships that take place on Friday night.
Sounds like a good time.
Friday Night Lights, that's what it's all about. Putting Invitational. That's made for TV. Must see, must disc TV.
We'll get that on ESPN.
One way or another, we could probably make that happen. So, all right, now let's move quickly into something I have personally accidentally neglected, but you're still going to benefit, people. That's the best kind of screw up. We're working with Birdie, the disc golf game, along with the Boda brothers. That's Todd and Steve. There's not just one crazy Dodge out there. There's a pair of them, let me tell you. And we're working on all the specific details, but the long and short of it is we want you guys to submit clips for your best shot or your birdie shot of the week, however we're going to determine that. But you're going to submit clips to us, and then Johnny and I will do a little review process. We'll show a couple of the top ones that were submitted to us, and then we will pick and announce a winner. And so all you have to do is then you go to the Boda Brothers website, you'll be able to fill in the information, and then they're going to send you a game, and it's going to have all of the shipping included, so nothing to you, nothing to us even. That's great. And then it will include the Smashbox card in your Birdie second edition.
That sounds pretty awesome.
I think about our Patreon giveaways, which are, great if you support us via Patreon. This is just, what is that, like $45, $50-ish of a giveaway every single week?
The Birdie game, yeah.
Jeez. How can any of us afford that?
We're
going to do it for you guys. That's the plan. So look for as this is falling in my lap, look for that announcement. We could probably even get that going this upcoming week, maybe even for next week. Maybe even if we can get our ducks in a row here, if we can put all our birdies together, we could even maybe be picking our first winner by next week already. So that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, so if you've got shots, some really awesome birdie shots, try not to lie to us. I don't. We don't look behind you. We can't see behind you. We don't know if it's a par 4 you're throwing at. Whatever. Submit them to SmashBoxxTV. How they submit them, Terry?
We're working on that. So look, keep an eye on Facebook. But we're gonna have to get them submitted. Either they're gonna have to post them. Maybe they're posting them right to our page. You and I have to probably iron out those exact details yet. But we'll find a way. And then every single week we'll take a look at the submissions that come in, and then we're going to give away a game. Well, technically Birdie is going to give away a game. We're just kind of facilitating it. I don't know how anyone loses in that situation.
Well, there's going to be some losers who submit and don't get the birdie
That's
game.
true.
That's how you lose.
But I mean, all that fame and notoriety on our Smashbox Facebook page, that's winning.
That's worth something.
You're going to be tired of winning. I've heard. You're going to be sick of it.
You're sick of winning.
One way or another. All right, so look for that. We'll put some more details out there, but just know that that's something that's actually been in the works for a couple of weeks, and then the ball's been dropped by me, and now I'll pick it back up, and we'll make it happen. Okay?
Sounds like a good plan.
All right. Other amazing things. Last week, I neglected to mention.
I wasn't here last week, so I tuned in for about 3 minutes as I was laying in my hotel bed.
Oh, that's...
It's very hot. And I was honestly, no offense to you, I was falling asleep because of the long day I had.
No, I'm none taken. You're boring, not me.
I know. I clearly was. It was like 9:32 at the time. So I saw you were talking to somebody. You were talking to Mike Downs, Mr. Downs.
Yeah.
So, it was good conversation. And then I was like, all right, it's time for me to go to bed. So what happened last week, Terry?
Well, okay, I'll go there. I did have a great conversation with Michael Downs, first and foremost. Incredible human, just a huge ambassador for the sport, employee at the Pdga, but even prior to being an employee, just clearly a passionate, enthusiast and ambassador for our entire sport. So he is such an asset to the sport of disc golf and to the PDGA and our entire membership. He gave us some updates. We talked a little bit about what we saw in the COVID year, hopefully how we're going to see things progress and move forward here in 2021. Talked about majors. I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say I think maybe one of the biggest insights that I feel like I pried out of him is I think he all but committed that even if travel's not 100% international and up to speed this year, that we would likely probably still see the Worlds take place this year. Assuming things are safe enough
that
to be traveling, within the U.S. and there's not any major catastrophes, that prevent that. But if international travel's not back to normal by then, it sounds like we still may see a World Championships, which I don't know if anyone would argue against. Or maybe they would.
I made that assumption weeks ago, and it was clearly just a guess that I didn't think that they could hold off Worlds another year. There's too much momentum right now that we need, and I'm going to put that in quotes, to crown a world champion. So, and you can't ask these places to push another year. You can't. I mean, it kind of has to happen, or it's not going to happen at this location. Is kind of how I felt. So I felt that there would be way more pressure for them to hold it in Utah than anything else. So
okay, well that was one of the, in my opinion, one of the bigger notes I got out of him. Again, just great to catch up with him. I know I said it a few times. We frequently have a Justin Menichelli or who's our PDGA board president, and we often have had, Nate Heinold, who also celebrated a birthday in the last couple days. And Nate comes from the large events committee or the majors and whatnot committee and the Worlds TD and all the things that he does and as a board member. But have an employee, one of the employees, I think, from the PDGA was great. And we always, we've said it time and time again, there's an open door here, an open invitation. Anytime any PDGA employee wants to come, and whether it's an initiative or a project or a plan or a grievance or anything, they're always welcome to come chat with us here on the show. And it was great to have Michael Downs chit-chat with us a little bit last week. Now, where I was going with it, one thing I neglected to mention last week, we got an email about it just before the show. It fell off my my agenda items there that I never wrote. Nantucket's disc golf course. Let me find the exact wording. We believe may now be the only disc golf course, let's see if I can find this, that is fully Google mapped. So I apologize. I want to find the email to double check the wording on this. But you can walk down the fairways with Google Maps on the Nantucket disc golf course. And they have completely overhauled the website. It's already incredible. There's shots that are show you from our top pros playing from the tee, playing from the fairway, putting on the green. There's various iterations of those. A lot of footage that I had captured over the last 4 or 5 years of being at the Nantucket event. But now, so all of that's on this site. And then, like I said, you can go out there and kind of walk the entire course via Google Maps. And I wanted to find exactly the wording for it, and I apologize that I'm not right now, but that's the long and short of it. So very cool. If there's another course out there, I'm sure Todd would love to hear it. Todd Rainwater would love to hear it. But that's something that's pretty cool that's out there. So if you ever just swing by Nantucket and you're thinking about getting...
Well, you don't need to now. You can just virtually play the course.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it.
I'm guessing I'd take a 3 on this hole and then just mark it down on your U-disc.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, you could just go that way with it. But it is something that I know Todd and crew have worked very hard on the website. Let me see. If you type in, if you even just Google Nantucket Disc Golf, or you go to nantucketdiscgolf.org, that's where you can find it. And then when you click, I believe, on the course, as it says on here, it says the course is a championship-style course in beautiful South Pasture of Nantucket State Forest. Goes on and on about the par 68 layout, and then it's got a hole-by-hole description of everything, along with photos. It's got maps and overlays, and then you can view it on Google Earth, or you can view the T sign, or like I said, you can just click on it and view it on Google Earth. It's just, it's absolutely incredible. So the bar has been raised yet again. UDisc, come on. Why aren't you Google Earthing every course?
That's next year's project.
Yeah, it very well could be.
I'm just kidding. I don't know if it is, but
it better be. All right, Johnny, so here's a question for you. I'm going to shoot from the hip. Are you signed up for tomorrow night's putting league here in Milwaukee?
Oh, I am not.
Oh. All right, well, this will be a short conversation.
I forgot about it, to be honest. I know I was very excited about it because it's right across the street from my office. Wednesdays are my work from home day, so I'm going to have to figure something like that out to see if I'm going to be able to pull that off tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's still... if they were limiting it, I'm guessing due to amount of people, and I have no idea. I had signed up a few weeks ago for it. I know there's a couple others.
I didn't
that
realize
will be going
that there was
to.
a pre-sign up for it. I was so excited I never even thought about it.
So it will be kind of cool, and guess that's what I'd love to know from our chat and our live viewers right now is, do you like having either one set location? Or do you like the idea, like I believe there are 3 different breweries that are involved, and it's going to continue to rotate. And so this tomorrow starts at an Explorium, their downtown location, and then it actually goes to a different brewery, I believe, on Sunday.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be rotating, Wednesdays, Sundays, Wednesdays, Sundays I think through the next 5 weeks or so.
Yeah, there's the Broken Bat, which is the one that's across the street from my office, not Explorium. But
it is the Explorium in the 3rd Ward, though.
Yes,
down
correct.
there, just so you know.
Personally, I like it at one location. I think just consistency's sake. But I do like the fact that if you can get more sponsors in by spreading it out, no harm, no foul there.
Johnny, for our viewers, can you go there and just give everyone you can, as you're looking at this, we'll see if Johnny can pull it up for you guys as you guys are requesting in the chat to show you just a little bit about what it looks like to go to the site, and then when you just click on that arrow,
I will do that.
You can literally, like we were saying, like virtually walk down this course. We'll pull it up on the screen for everyone watching right now.
Yep, just like any Google, I went to a whole different season. Nice.
So as we're walking down, for instance, hole number 1, showing you you can fully rotate around and take a look at the entire course.
Let's be over here because this is probably where Terry's going to hit, right about this tree.
No, this is a par 4, so
you wouldn't get that far. Is what you're saying.
That's mean.
And yep, right here is the basket. This is about where we'd miss our putts from.
So it's just a really, and then of course an entire navigation system on the bottom. On the left-hand side of the screen, some of you might be seeing right now, kind of the overview map of what it looks like. It's just really next level when it comes to seeing what a course looks like before you could possibly go there and play or visit, or you want to check things out. As if my coverage doesn't give you everything you need. You can now go out there and not listen to me. So anyway, very cool to see.
Yeah, that's some really cool stuff.
So nice work by Todd and the entire crew and everyone else that worked on that. All right. Those are some of the other big things. Now, let's move into sponsorship chatter. And I know that you mentioned it a little bit earlier that we saw in the last day, it was just yesterday, that Nate Perkins had, or maybe today, had made the announcement that he has extended with Discmania, and if we still get him, we could have that conversation with him. But if not, we could talk about some of the other extensions as I go out to our friends at discgolf.altoworld.com, and we'll see on their sponsorship tracker. We've seen a handful of announcements in the last day or two of some other details that were given. And it looks like they don't even have too many of them listed on their page. As I saw,
I'm assuming last week you talked about Alexis moving to Discraft.
Yes, we had that conversation along with Valerie then getting promoted to the star team with Team Innova. And then I think we probably also talked about Austin going to Prodigy, Kale remaining at Prodigy. Those were a few of them that came to mind that were off the top of my head from last week. It might have been it. And I feel like there was a few others that
Matt Bell signed a 3-year extension. I don't know if you had talked about that with DGA.
Yep.
So he will continue to be DGA. Would you say he's their number 1 player on their team right now?
Yeah, statistically, he's got to be. I think he's probably the highest rated player on the team.
I would guess.
And I'm not sure where he is in relation to Trevor Harbault, but yeah, certainly adding Trevor to the team is certainly a little bit additional bump there. I know they made another announcement. I apologize, I don't have it in front of me. There was an additional announcement today about somebody else added to the team.
Shout out to Dan Harbeck. Thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated for the $10 super chat. We love Dan.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dan. And sure enough, coming in via my Instagram messaging, Nate Perkins says, "Wow, I lost track of time. I'm calling in ASAP if you are still on."
Oh, of course we're still on.
Let's go, I think the kids still say. So
we will have Nate. Was there anything else you want to talk about before we
No, those were a lot of my major notes throughout the week. I think I've pretty much touched on all those things. Super excited for this weekend's coverage of being out at the Shelley Sharp. Look forward to that. I'm excited that we're going to have a couple of feature cards. We're going to do something a little bit different in that the first round, we're going to have my buddy Gary, who normally sits in the control room here. He's going to work one camera on one feature card, and then I'm going to work a single camera on a different feature card. So the first round, when things are there's still no leader officially, or there one hasn't been established, we're going to actually give you 2 sets of cards, just basically going for as much coverage. And then we'll continue to see how the coverage,
quality.
Exactly. That's what I'm all about. That's what my calories say too. Quantity over yeah. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do during the first round, and then we're going to kind of play it by ear, second and third round, how we're going to man the camera, so to speak. But that's kind of the plan, and I do have some sponsorship options available to anyone that would like to come in and give you support the bonus coverage for this weekend. So feel free to reach out to me. Any and all of it is greatly appreciated. And big shout out to First Light, as they have already stepped up as a sponsor for this weekend. I want to say thank you to those guys, Dan and Boyd and crew down there. You guys have been gracious all the time. So thank you to you guys for stepping up as a sponsor of the weekend. One of the sponsors this weekend. All right, Ryan Pilcher asks, as we're just about ready for Nate to join us, asks, it's ratings update Tuesday. Are we due for a Terry rant? No, I'm not going to bother. Surprisingly, there were so few pros that mentioned it today that it didn't trigger me at all.
You were not triggered? Well, because there's very few updates.
Exactly. So
maybe Katrina was probably the only pro that actually had an update, because I think she played.
Yeah, because she's been
into
playing.
December.
Maybe Ellen Widboom might have changed. I think about some of our other players. I'm sure Emerson Keith, playing every weekend. I'm sure his changes, and maybe a Cameron Messerschmitt. But yeah, as you're saying, just not a ton of our top level players are playing. Therefore, there's not too many shifts when it comes to it. So. All right, Daddy Disc Golf says, he already told us that he is staying with Daddy Disc Golf for 2021. So good luck. I thought you were going to get booted from the team, actually. I thought you might get cut, but it sounds like you're there. Anyone starting a new governing body for disc golf anytime soon is a question that's out there, and not that I know of. If anyone is, I'd love to hear more about it. We'd love to talk to them. But as far as I am aware, no brand new governing bodies. So looks like we're just about ready to get a Nate Perkins. We've got a Perkins sighting in our Disc Baron digital green room, and we're going to be able to have him join in just a moment. If he wants to rotate his camera, we'll get him full screen, hopefully.
No, it must be set to anti. So don't bother rotating it then. We can. Yep, that'll be fine.
All right. Johnny, if you're ready, I think
ready.
we can
Let's
click the
bring it
button.
in.
Bring it in from the Disc Baron Digital Green Room, Nate Perkins. Nate, how you doing, buddy?
Great, Terry. So good to see you, man.
Good to see you. Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're glad you're here. We ran your one disc, one tip. We did a little bit of stalling, and we're glad you could join us tonight. It's good to talk to you.
No, this is amazing. I've been waiting for I don't know, 3 or 4 years to be invited onto SmashBoxx, and then the first time I'm a half hour late. So
have we not had you? Have we not had you on?
I'm hosting some guests, and so I'm just like honestly embarrassed, but I'm so happy to be here, looking at your faces, and thank you so much for having me on. Really.
Yeah, all good. We know you got stuff going on. I was checking your Instagram. You're cutting holes in people's, van roofs. Like I don't want to get in the way of it, that kind of construction. But what do you got going on? Where are you and what are you doing?
Yeah. So my good buddy Connor O'Reilly.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna hear his name quite a bit actually coming up. But he's a 10-14 rated disc golfer out of Austin. And he just quit his job last month and bought a van, and he's going full in on disc golf. Pretty special. And I've kind of taken him under my wing a little bit, and I kind of pushed him a little bit, and I was like, Connor, you're good. Like you need to get out there and you need to tour. It's time. And just gave him the push that he needed, and he bought the van, and I told him I'd help out a little bit, and now here I am. And we installed the solar panels yesterday, and then we cut the hole in the roof today and installed the fan. So we got a lot of work left, but he's going van life, Terry. He's going full van life.
It's a popular move right now, that's for sure.
no better
Yeah.
time than now for it. And like you said, if anyone has the skills, I feel like the Disc Golf Pro Tour, the PDGA in general, and our sport in general is now like, now's the time. Pull the trigger. Go out and try it. Live life. Hopefully succeed, but if you don't, no regrets. And that's pretty incredible. What was Connor? I don't want to give too many, harp on him too much for you, but what was
sure.
what was he doing prior, and how tough of a decision was that for him to hit the road, and what'd you have to do to like really pushed him over the edge?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, he was already kind of on his way, just because he picked up disc golf so quick and got good quick. And so he was already playing, 20, 25 tournaments a year around Texas, but he had a job in Austin. He has a degree, so he was doing something related to his degree, but just to take that extra leap. I mean, there's so many good local players in all the different disc golf hubs around the United States, but for him to take the leap like that, I think all he needed was just a little push. And when I met him, I kind of felt that. And I'm like, Connor, like, there's no better time than now to get out there on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And, it doesn't matter how good you are, locally. Like, if you want to make it your full-time job, like, out there on the road is kind of the way to do it. So.
And did I hear in your Instagram, it was a brand new Ford is what he went out and picked up?
Yeah, no, he bought a brand new Ford. So, it's the high top, medium length. So, like Paige's van or James's van. And yeah, just, it's so exciting. And I have a ton of fun. I have a ton of fun helping people out, like with the solar and stuff. So
yeah. So now that you're such a veteran to this lifestyle, Paige's and your van and all these vans that we've seen, give us like the top couple of tips. And I already know I'm going to steal one. I know fans are important. Paige has talked about them. Everyone talks about getting one or installing a second or a third one. I know fans are important. What are another couple of tips that are like absolutely crucial for this van life?
Oh no. We still with you?
Yeah, you're good.
We're here.
Oh, we were until you click that button. Okay. Now we got you.
Yeah,
we're all good.
Okay, cool. Insulation, definitely. I mean, insulation is what keeps you out of the element. And then mine in particular, I have a ton of storage because I got a ton of Frisbees. So I left everything under the bed is storage for the discs. So I can just pull out the discs and show them to people, sell them to people, and throw them.
Okay.
But
yeah.
And then YouTube. I mean, obviously YouTube, there's so many people that are building great vans out there. So just taking your time and using YouTube for every step of the way, and having a good battery system, I think, is important, so that you can have a refrigerator and you can run all your appliances without having to worry about plugging in somewhere. That's kind of what separates it from an RV or from any other form of traveling, because you can be on a road trip and just stop halfway and you have all the comforts you need when you have those batteries and stuff.
Yeah, I see maybe even Alyssa not too long ago, like doing a little remodeling because she was concerned about some batteries and plugins and having that accessibility. And we know with her editing and everything that she's doing, clearly that's crucial to her as well. Yeah, it was Cat Merch. Cat Merch. I know her and her family are working on her van right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So those are tips for what you should do. Give me the number one mistake or tip that you should avoid. Things like you just would strongly not recommend.
That's a good question. Honestly, okay, so this is actually something I've really been trying to stress with Connor, is that when you get your van, you usually get it around the winter time, right? And then you've got the tour coming up. And so you have this amount of time that you're trying to make this home in. And I think the most important thing is to not try and cut corners. Because you're trying to build this van for many years of touring, and not just the first tournament in Vegas that's coming up in February, right? So I think the biggest mistake you can make is trying to get everything done too quick, just so you can make that first tournament or your next tournament, and to kind of take your time. So I didn't insulate mine as well as I could have the first time. And so, when we were out there in Arizona and Vegas the first year, 3 years ago, we quickly realized that we didn't have enough insulation. And so I kind of went back and added insulation after the fact, which was just a lot more work. So I've been trying to stress with Connor, like, hey, I know you got this like amount of time that you feel like you want to hit the road, but take your time and do it right the first time, so that you don't have to go back and change anything.
Oh, okay. So do it right once, or do it right and do it only once, right? Something like that.
Well, everybody's van goes through like a second year phase. I feel like they get what they feel is the perfect van, and then you realize like, oh, I really wanted this as well after that first year of touring. So it's those base level things that really you want to hit right on the first try.
No, you're right. It's always changing. It's a work in progress, and you're going to add stuff. I mean, I added cabinets, and I redid the kitchen after year 2. So it's just always changing, and yeah, it's fun. I recommend van life to anybody, really.
So aside from your own, and maybe your own isn't the answer, but whose van setup do you like the most? Maybe that's not your own. Like, what other one? Whether it's something specific about it or just the overall layout or functionality, whatever it might be, aesthetics, I don't know. Whose van is runner up to yours, in your opinion, your personal opinion?
Yeah. Okay. That's definitely put me on the spot. I think, I think I might have to go with James Conrad's van, because the best food is made in that van.
Okay.
His lovely lady Jordan is always making the best food, and sometimes the space is it might be laid out really well and everything, but it's all about the people. So I'd probably have to go with James and Jordan's van. It's pretty sweet, nice place to hang out.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes when I go to events and see you guys is when there's usually like 2 or 3 vans almost, they're parked right next to each other, and it's like it's an extended, it feels like a block party, but it's a van party. And there's 3 or 4 vans, all the windows, all the doors are open, some lights, there might be a board game or 2 out, and it's like this little mini block party that's taking place in the parking lot. Like, the ambiance, that seeing that is...
We need to figure out a way to rig something to the outside so you can like create a big room with all the vans as walls.
Yeah, we've talked about that. We're like, hey, because we'll park them next to each other. We park them next to each other, and it's like an apartment, and it's like in this apartment building, you got the kitchen going. In this one, you got exactly, Terry, you said it, the board games, and then get 4, you said it, we need like an awning or something to connect them all and to stay out of the element. But honestly, it's disc golf. The tournaments themselves are incredible, but the community that we have traveling around with each other is kind of what's bringing me back every year. It's an incredible community. I mean, we're just little nomads traveling around the United States, having little get-togethers in random parking lots or by the river if we can,
Well, speaking of bringing you back another year, obviously we saw today it was announced that you renewed your Discmania contract for an additional year. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh my goodness, man. I'm just so fortunate. This is year number 6 with Discmania, which is crazy. I mean, I first went pro in 2014 and then got sponsored the next year in 2015. So it's the only company I've been with, and I honestly feel like with my position with them and with my signature disc and everything, I feel as lucky as I could as any player out there, And I feel like they, you know, you guys both know that they've just been blowing up over the past few years. You've seen it, their fan base, and they can't keep the discs on the shelves. So I'm just like, I'm cheesing that I'm signing with Discmania again for another year. So
I have to ask, what goes into, because contracts and sponsorships are so much more of a business than they've ever been before. Every year they get more serious, they get bigger. There's more that goes into them. What kind of conversations point to a 1 versus a 2 or a 5-year deal? Like, how about for you personally? Is that something that is kind of a mutual thought? Like, hey, let's lock in for this year and then worry about next year. Like, what was kind of your thought process in the 1 year? Because we see all sorts of years now. Like, anything's on the table, it seems like.
Yeah. So I actually signed a 2-year deal.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm 2021 and 2022. I'll be playing for Discmania, but yeah, it's a really good question. I honestly think that each contract is just unique, or I think that it should be unique between the company and the player. And that's something that it has, disc golf hasn't really quite got there yet. You know, we kind of have these blanket contracts where if you're on Innova's star team, that means that you get this. And if you're on Innova's champion team, that means that you get this. But I kind of think that we're moving more towards what it looks like in other sports, where each player has their own unique contract with the company. And when you get down to like what determines the years, I think that's just so unique to each player. And for some players, let's just, for example, we'll talk about Ezra this year. Ezra,
who? Does he have something going on?
Right. So actually, we haven't really talked about this publicly, but I was Ezra's agent this off season. So I fully represented Ezra to all the companies this year. And that's not something we're hiding. It's something we're going public with eventually, but might as well drop it on SmashBoxx.
Boom, exclusive, SmashBoxx exclusive.
We're going to keep talking, but I have a lot of questions about that.
Okay,
so
go on
ahead.
though, Nate.
Yeah. Sure. So yeah, I mean, Terry, you know that I've kind of been big into that and working with players and trying to help other players. And it's not just about getting them the max amount of dollar. It's about getting them with the right people, getting them surrounded by the right people. I mean, some people are going to thrive at Innova. Some people are going to thrive at Dynamic. And, you know, it's all about surrounding the individual with the right people so that both parties can maximize their potential. It's not just about, hey, this player's worth X amount of dollars, who can pay that, you know? But for example, with Ezra, we felt like it was best to keep his term short because we don't know his actual potential. Like if he in 2 years, if he starts winning every major, which he's fully capable of doing, then we don't want him locked in a contract for 5 years. You know what I mean? But if you're already at the top, like with Macbeth, we already know that he's the world #1. So we want to lock him in for 5 years. You know what I mean? So each player is kind of unique, and it depends on where you're at in your career and where the company's at, what kind of moves they're making, what kind of moves the player's planning to make, and what kind of tour they're going on. So there's just so many factors when you think about the length of the contract.
Yeah, and I'll just quickly say I couldn't agree more than with you when you say every company, whether it's the personality of the player or the company, like there are clearly these symbiotic relationships that are like obvious, and then there's some where like, well, it feels like it'd be kind of weird if so and so was on that team, and so yeah. I think that is so crucial because it's not just the dollars and the cents or which tour series or support series disc are you getting. Do you fit into that company culture? Do you know, are you providing as much value to them, and are they going to be able to reciprocate that? I feel like there's so many factors that go into it more than just the dollars and the cents, but how comfortable, and not just for you, but in general, how comfortable are you when it comes to people talking about the specifics? That James Conrad is looking for X, or you're getting paid Y, or Ezra, you know, will take Z. Like, is that any of the public's? Do you want to see some of that public? or not?
Honestly, that's such a good question. And me personally, I think all of that information should be public. I think in general, that would help lift disc golf into a new place in just the collective conscious. People don't know that Paige Pierce is going to be a millionaire like really soon. And people need to know that. Like, women around the world need to know that there is this woman who is playing disc golf and inspiring thousands of people and making millions of dollars. Like, we need to share that information. And people don't know that there's a disc golfer who, or maybe a few disc golfers who are already millionaires solely because of how good they are at the sport. And the contracts are getting bigger and bigger. And I think that that's part of the publicity that drives other sports. When you hear about Patrick Mahomes getting a $500 million contract, it turns heads, and you're like, wait, what is this sport? I want to see what this guy's doing. So I think that we all need to kind of take that leap and get over whatever space we've been in and share the contracts with the public.
So what are you getting?
Yeah. Oh, for
Ask
sure.
his agent. Talk to his agent.
Yeah.
So
and my contract is unique because of how much product that I move with this mania. You know, I'm buying discs all year long and stamping them with unique artwork from sourced from other disc golfers. And so my contract is unique, but the majority of my income is coming from my signature discs, which we produced 10,000 Night Strikes last year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got a $20,000 check in the middle of the year from my Night Strike, which is unbelievable. I called my dad in tears, Terry. I'm like in tears. I'm like, Dad, I think I finally made it. I think that I finally did it. Like, do you have any bills to pay?
Wow. Disc golf rich.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking
real.
that the 40 or 50 Night Strike ones that I have that I just found, that might be 20 grand as well, right? I could probably sell those at
he
retail.
doesn't get a cut of that, though.
Oh, he did. He did.
Well, not anymore, though. He wants a second cut now.
No. When I make fat bank on those someday, but you got your cut off of me a couple years ago when I bought all those, and I just realized I found them, and apparently they're worth like $150 a piece, huh?
Yeah, no, that's we only produced 3,000 that year, so that's one of the best molds that Discmania has produced. So for sure,
yeah, that excites me even more.
So, are you looking to become the agent for disc golf players? Like, is that kind of everybody, like, some people are thinking, man, I can get into the media. Some people are thinking, I just want to play disc golf. Your idea, or your maybe bigger term plan, is I can be the disc golf agent.
Yeah, I think that I kind of assume that role just because I really like to just help people, and especially when all that role involved was just getting on the phone with people and connecting with people and building a relationship of trust with the companies. It was an easy role for me to assume, and definitely disc golfers moving forward need agents, because when you're starting to talk about 6-figure contracts, the players don't need to be arguing that for themselves. They don't need to be going, hey, I'm actually worth 200 grand, not 100 grand, or I'm actually worth 120 and not 80. Someone needs to be speaking on their behalf. And so I definitely see myself working that role moving forward, but I wouldn't say that I'm putting all my chips there. I would love to be a disc golf commentator one day. That's one of my big passions. And obviously I see myself playing disc golf until I can't physically anymore. So I don't know. I'm just full in on the sport. So whatever role I can do, I'm about it, really.
Now, what if someone said, all right, Nate, you have to quit playing, but we're going to let you do disc golf van build outs for $150K a year. And all you got to do is like build out like 10 vans a year for that will eventually go to disc golfers. I mean, could you give it up? Could you give up the sport for the guaranteed $150K?
Well,
no way.
You don't have to play all they're saying is you don't have to play tournaments. You can still travel. You can still hang out with the friends. You just don't have to. No. You don't have to wake up every once in a while at like 10 a.m. to play.
No, I don't have the best skill set. I don't throw the furthest. I'm not the best golfer, but I think that I have what it takes to win a major. I've been right there. I've been right there at the biggest events in the world. I was there, chase card final round at the World Championships. I mean, I was playing with Paul McBeth the final round at Worlds, 4 years after I turned pro. So I feel like I have what it takes. If I find my rhythm and I find my groove, I think I can still win a big tournament, even with all the talent out there. I don't see why I couldn't play golf and shoot 40 down one weekend and win a major. So I'm just going to keep doing it and until I win the European Open or until I win a US title. And until I feel like I don't have a chance, I'm just going to keep signing up for every tournament. So I don't see myself stopping, even if they offered me 200 grand, 300 grand or whatever. I don't even care. I just love it so much.
Well, speaking of, you'll keep signing up. I noticed you haven't played in any Pdga events since the end of November. But then when you click on your, and I know you're doing all the other things you've been talking about, but then I click on your name for 2021, and you have, I don't know if you know this, you have 0 weekends open yet in 2021. You've booked every weekend of 2021 for disc golf, it looks like. But in all seriousness, you're signed up for a ton of events, and that just, I guess, puts the, drives the point home. You're all in. You're playing every weekend you can, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to. I love competing so much, and that's the best way to kind of. It's so. I just love signing up for the tournaments because you're like, okay, I'm gonna be there. I'm going to be in California on this day, or I'm gonna be. I just signed up for an event in Estonia, and I'm like, I'm gonna be there. So however I get there, whatever that means for my body, or I'm just gonna be there. And I know you feel a little bit of that too, Terry. You're like, hey. I'm booked, so I'm gonna be in Croatia. So however I get there, that's gonna fall in place later. But yeah, I mean, I signed up for the tour pass, so that's what you're seeing a lot of. But I'm trying to compete as much as possible because that's where I feel like I grow the most as a player is during a tournament.
Yeah, and then to further that. You're signed up for all 6 of the Silver Series. Now, I don't know if there was if the pass, I think, is separate of that, right? Or was there a separate Silver Series pass or price break or anything, or how did that work? But you're signed up for all 6 Silver Series events as well.
Yeah, so the pass was great this year. You could just click a button and you could sign up for all the Pro Tours and all of the Silver Series in one payment. Or you could pick and choose which ones. You could go and pick 5 Pro Tours and 5 Silver Series and pay for that in one payment. And it's really amazing the way that they've kind of made that easy for the touring players. And you can get a refund up to 24 hours before the event. So there's no commitment really. I'm signed up for all of them. I plan to play all of them. But if you don't feel it a week before, you can email Jeff and he'll get you off the list, and it's smooth sailing. So kudos to the Pro Tour for making it so easy for us.
Yeah, what is it at this point, now that you've been traveling so much, what is it that draws you to a new event? Is it word of mouth? Is it the course itself? Is it the ridiculous payout that's being talked about? Is it purely geographical? What are some of the things that really draw you into a new event? Because people always want our top players to come play their event, but they say, how do I get them here? And that's the question I really now give you.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think for many players, it's really different. For some players, it's about the money.
Mhm.
For me, it's about, I think location might be the number one. For a new event in particular, it's like the location. I mean, if you tell me that there's an event in Thailand, I'm like, where, on this island in Thailand, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go check that out. I don't know what kind of baskets they have or tee pads or what the course is like or how much added cash, but I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go check it out. I'm gonna use disc golf as an excuse to travel. So, Estonia, I don't know much about the course, but I know a little bit about the culture of disc golf over there in Europe, and so I know that it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be smooth sailing, and so location is number one for me, and then I would say the course. What kind of equipment? What are the baskets like? And are we playing on dirt tee pads? Are we playing on turf tee pads? And then probably the community of people. Just the word of mouth of what it's like to go play. In the Bay Area, it's just what it's like to go play in Charlotte. There's just a thriving community of disc golfers there, so that's really attractive as well.
Okay. No, and like you said, I feel like those priorities have really shifted throughout the years. Whether it was a course you wanted to hit up, or hey, they've got huge payout, like I can't skip that event. They've got 15 grand added. I have to be at that event. And now payout's obviously always great, but it seems like there's a lot of other very practical and logistical factors that can play into where you want to be and what you want to do. Now,
yeah.
Something that's common within Discmania and some of your teammates and some of your a lot of the employees there. I think of a Steve Bro and a Dana Vici and an Avery Jenkins, for instance, a little bit Dustin Keegan. Course design are all there's the thread there where I was going with that is course design kind of threads through all of those guys. I could assume with how much you love to play that course design is something that probably interests or intrigues you, but is it fair to say it's not the priority to you that it is maybe to some of those other players right now in terms of designing courses, or is it?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and all those guys that you just named are all really, really well-respected course designers, and I mean, it's definitely something that I think and I feel confident that I could go out there and I could design a championship course. Just due to the fact of how much I love this game and how experienced I am at playing all these different championship courses, and it's so hard to cut yourself in so many different ways when the majority of my time goes toward just traveling to the events all year. And I find myself here in the off season and I'm like, what's my priority? Is my priority my skill set? Is my priority my mindful disc golf business? Is it helping friends out with their vans? Is it going to a meditation retreat and working on my mental health? Like, what is the priority? So it's definitely something that I want to do, but I'm just split so many ways right now. But I'm definitely going to do it very soon.
Okay. I sense a little or a lot of similarities between yourself and me, that you're obviously passionate and enthusiastic about the entire world and sport of disc golf.
Yeah.
And it's like you want to be involved with everything because it all excites you. And I know all too well what that's like, trying to figure out where your priorities lie. And they may shift and change and evolve from year to year for you.
We have guests. I might migrate for just a little bit.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Absolutely.
We're on SmashBoxxTV. Hello.
Wow.
Hello.
What kind of party we got going on there? Holy cow. Hello, everyone.
Beautiful. Nothing but beautiful people.
So exactly where are you? I don't need your address, but where are you?
I'm at my uncle's ranch in Austin. So
Okay.
he's renting a piece of land down here. Let's see. Let's get this set up. Man, I really loved it in there too. The lighting was super nice. But
This looks pretty good.
is this all right here?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
That looks great. You're going to be good till your phone battery dies.
Yeah.
All good.
As someone said, that's one heck of a van you're in. So
Yeah, no. So he's renting this property down here, and it's in Austin city limits, but it's out here on the ranch on a river. There's like 60 acres, and you can still see downtown. It's really sweet. So I've just kind of been chilling here, putting. I've set up a couple baskets, and I've been putting. And he's a musician here in town, so we'll go see music in the evening if it's outdoors and socially distanced and stuff. So.
And that was actually going to be my next question before you even said the word music. I know that one of the favorite things you guys love to do is to take in concerts and live music and entertainment when you guys are on the road. And I know sometimes that even leads into late nights. Thankfully for you, you all usually have a later tea time the next day, but that leads into late nights and taking in all of that local live music. Is it safe to say is that the number one thing you missed in a COVID-stricken season, or if that's not number one, what would be?
Oh man, it's right up there. I think what's number one is probably just being able to like really interact with people without any fear, like being able to just hug people and being able to have people over for food and just be with people without there being tension, that underlying tension of, are we being safe? Like, should we even be doing this? But yeah, music is up there for sure. We go see a lot of live music and just feeling the crowd. And yeah, I mean, being able to interact with people at the disc golf tournament. I mean, that's huge, not having fans and not being able to, finish your round and chat with people at the van, or, I do a lot of the weekly events, the midweek events where I do, little doubles events at people's home course. And so I definitely missed interacting with all those locals on the road for sure.
Yeah, I feel like there's the crowd. We fought for so many years. I say it all the time. We fought for so many years to get crowds and galleries at our tournaments, and then this year we're like, yeah, it's great you want to come, but unfortunately you can't. And thanks to the Pro Tour, you guys had golf to play. I mean, we saw that the best events still managed to go on outside of our majors. The biggest and best events were able to still happen thanks to the extra precautions and everything that we saw from the Pro Tour. And maybe speak to what the Pro Tour has been doing for your career. I mean, it kind of came about shortly after you hit the road for the first time.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've only missed one Pro Tour event. I've played every single Pro Tour event, and it just was by chance. I went out in 2016, and Steve Dodge had this idea for the Pro Tour, and it just happened to coincide with the year that I graduated college and hit the road. And honestly, the way that I see it is disc golf now lives with the Pro Tour. Like, disc golf without the Pro Tour, disc golf isn't growing the way that it is. Without what the Pro Tour is doing, I mean, I don't think people are growing up playing basketball if they're not watching the NBA. I don't think people are playing golf if they're not watching Tiger Woods. And so I'm definitely all in on the Pro Tour's vision, and I'm all in with Jeff Spring and with the people that we have on board leading the way. I still can't believe we played this year or in 2020. It was crazy. I can't believe that we still played. I can't believe that they worked with the local governments and got stuff approved. So it's just they're killing it, and they grew. I don't know how much they actually grew. I don't know the numbers, but they blew it up last year, and I think they're going to continue to blow it up. I mean, CBS Sports and ESPN, it's amazing. So I've heard talks that it's going to just continue to go that direction, and so it's amazing for all of us that's involved.
Yeah, and exactly it. We've seen that growth. Of course, the entire sport has, but then Disc Golf Network, the Disc Golf Pro Tour, even in the face of this pandemic, managed to blossom and grow and flourish as much as we did this year. I think it's incredible, cool. And just a hats off to everyone locally, globally, that was able to help continue to push things forward. And I mean, if it weren't for the Pro Tour, you may not have a certain love of your life either. That may not have unfolded in Manitowoc, Wisconsin all those years ago. So that's pretty special.
just such a fortunate person, just in general, Terry.
Yeah, absolutely. That's incredible. Well, Nate, any additional shout outs, new sponsors? Of course, thank all your existing sponsors that you've got for us. If you're looking for any new ones, maybe give the genre or the type of sponsor that you might be seeking out or still willing to accept.
And as always, let everyone know how they can support you.
Yep, all that stuff. Give us your full spiel here. We want to hear it.
All right, I got you. All right, I'll start with, if anybody out there is looking or wants to sponsor any disc golfer, give me a call. Call me, email me, get in touch with me. I can help you get in touch with whoever you want to get in touch with, and we can help your company grow. So if you're looking to sponsor anybody, give me a shout, and I'll talk to the people for you. I just signed with Upper Park Disc Golf. So it's the first bag sponsor I've ever taken on, and I'm super stoked about the Rebel bag that I just got in the mail. And OTB Discs, man, I can't say enough about Danny and the crew up there in Stockton. They've become close friends of mine, mentors of mine. I call them for advice all the time, and we all know that they've just been pouring money back into the game. So I'm super, super pumped to be working with them moving forward. Whale Sacks, Tina and Eric. Tina and them just bought a new house, so I'm just so happy for them and to be representing her handmade product moving forward. And let's just go ahead and announce it, Terry. The Night Strike 4 is happening.
Dang. When is it going to be in stock? I mean, I'm happy for you, but when is it going to be in stock is the question.
Listen, the Disc Mania lineup has never had a 4 until now. So I honestly, I'm so pumped that the Night Strike is the first saga that's going to be continuing past the 3. And man, I can't wait to share more news about it. But we're next few months. It's going to be the next few months. So be on the lookout for the Night Strike 4. Manny Trujillo and I are already brainstorming the artwork, and we're talking about the plastic blend that we're going to be rolling with this year. And I'm just cheesing about it, man.
Love it. Now,
whenever it gets released, I'm sure 5 minutes later it'll be unavailable because they'll sell out. Just
hook a brother up and let me buy 50 of them. I will keep them in good, pay full price, keep them in good safekeeping, so I can flip them 10 years later for 10 times as much.
I'll save some.
So the last question that I want to give you is, along all this lines of sponsorship, is what other type of sponsor would really excite you right now, whether it's a snack or a beverage or a hair tie? I saw a new hair tie sponsor shifted around the other day. A hair tie what other type of sponsor, if somebody's like, hey, I've got this product and I think I align with Nate, is there any other specific sunglasses? Like, is there anyone else specific that you might be, a need you have?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think anything health conscious, I would say some sort of, health conscious food, something that every disc golfer could benefit from. It would be something that I would be interested in representing and spreading to everybody, because that's really what it's about for me. It's not about what am I getting out of it, but it's about, do I believe in this, and am I willing to speak about it publicly, to share it on Instagram, and to bring it with me and share it with everybody in person. So anything health conscious, some sort of smoothie blend drink, or some sort of, lion's mane mushroom powder, or I don't know, just something health conscious that people can consume and make their bodies a priority. So something like that.
Okay. Well,
great.
They're all listening right now. I'm sure. No?
So it's live. How many people? Does it tell you how many people?
1.6 million. No. Okay.
I think between all the platforms, we're just shy of 200 people, and then obviously this will go out tomorrow on the podcast, so everyone will be able to hear it, and that's quite a few thousand downloads.
Tens of thousands.
So
maybe. ish.
This
Yeah.
I haven't
this
looked
is
at the numbers
honor
recently.
for me. I mean, Terry, I was watching your footage before I was throwing. You know, I was
Awesome.
watching your stuff, and honestly, you've been one of the guys who have just kept at it no matter what. You've been there and you've been filming, and I mean, you and I we have a relationship. I consider you a friend out there on the road, and we've worked together on several videos. Some of my best stuff that I'm most proud of has been on the Disc Golf Guy channel. So this is a really big moment for me to be on Smashbox. So thank you so much, and thanks for the great questions. You guys are both really awesome. So I appreciate you.
Love it, man. It probably is a little overdue, so we are absolutely honored and glad to have you as well. Thank you for the kind words, and of course, nothing but love back to you and all the things you guys have been doing. I love seeing you guys out on the road week in and week out, and I know you're doing it with all the right intentions and living life to the fullest. And I don't know how anyone can be anything but happy and joyous and envious of watching you guys going out there and succeed in multiple facets. The podium's one thing, but living life is another. And when you combine those on any given weekend, it makes for a great place to be week in and week out. So. All right,
Cool,
pal.
man.
Well, we love you. We appreciate it. You keep working on those contracts. You keep working on the cars and the trucks and the vans. And, we'll continue to watch the PDGA here because I know it's not too many more weekends before we run into one another out in some course somewhere around the world. You're always there. I'm usually there. So
I'll see you in Vegas, man. I'll see you at the poker table.
it sounds like a plan. I look forward to it, pal. All right, Nate Perkins, everyone. Thank you. Have a good night, Nate. See ya.
Thank you
Good
so
night.
much.
You're welcome. Thanks. All right. Of course, Nate Perkins, absolutely infectious personality and just so genuine and fun to be around.
Infectious isn't the word I want to use right now. Just for anybody.
He infects me like nobody else, is what I would say.
No, it sounded like he had a fun time to go attend, and hopefully. What an exciting guy! Just dabbling in everything.
Yeah,
everything from player management to course design to disc sales. The guy just very well rounded.
I feel like it's just, I don't want to say it's easy to do, but for certain people and certain aspects of our game, some of that stuff just comes very natural, and it is hard. It's hard to sometimes shut off one valve or close down one street because you're going down another. But I very much see, there's so many opportunities, and that's to me is probably the biggest testament to how big disc golf is and has grown, is because there's so many. I mean, we have people that are doing graphic design full time for disc golf. We have people that are performing all these roles and tasks and functions full time for disc golf, and I think that's just incredible. And Nate obviously still on that competitive side, but looking forward to exploring other things as he continues down the path and the journey of disc golf career and whatnot. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up the regular show now. We've got so much good info jam-packed into this one tonight. Of course, talking to Hunter over there at Foundation, getting all of the details needed for the junior grant program that can also be found on foundationdisc.com. Scroll on down to the bottom. You can find a little link that says junior grant. And then Nate Perkins, he didn't give us all his socials, but we know that they're out there. Just look for Nate Perkins or Perks of Disc Golf. Instagram is usually the most popular place I see him post. So Perks of Disc Golf is where you can go out and follow him on Instagram. He's active right now, so if you need to hit him up, now's the time. I love, even in his description, it says professional disc golfer, van lifer, explorer, entrepreneur, your friend, let's team up. I like that. Let's team up.
He's your friend.
Yeah. I'm not teaming up with you. I'm going to team up with Nate. All right, guys, we're going to close out. This has been podcast number 332. Of course, in the after show, we've got a free giveaway for our Patreon supporters that have been with us and supporting us via that platform. I think we've even got 2 of them because we got one to make up for last week.
That's right.
So we're going to have 2 Patreon giveaways that we're going to be doing for you guys there. We'll chat with you guys in the message board. for any of the questions or things that you have coming at us. We look forward to interacting with you there. So once again, for Nate Perkins, along with Hunter Thomas, Johnny V, and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, that's podcast 332. We'll see you in a few minutes when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the SmashBoxxTV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast 332's After Show.
I
First,
didn't have anything witty after that one. Not like this.
I don't expect you to. Don't worry. At no point am I holding my breath for you to say something witty. I feel like it's best that way. That's why I keep. Never mind. All right, welcome everyone. Our first. Wow, it's our first after show together in 2021. How
you
incredible!
Probably didn't even do an after show last week. It was probably just one
did.
long
No,
show.
I did. I actually. I think I broke things down. I stood down for a moment. I probably went to my kitchen and actually got some water and then came back. I feel like I stood down for a moment last week. I don't remember.
Okay.
Either way, welcome everyone to the SmashBoxxTV After Show. As always, almost anything goes. This may or may not be disc golf related, and we love to interact with our various chat boards. So if you've got questions or anything you want to bring up or maybe get discussed,
now's the time to do it.
Now's a great time to do it. As I see Nova out there, Nova dropping videos, feels like every day or at least weekly. I know Nova's got a new video out on YouTube. Make sure to go check that out. And we'll try and catch up with the comments. And one of the first ones, I didn't feel like it was right, even though he's potentially a manager of sorts or an agent of sorts. No news on James Conrad in any official capacity right now.
Was he James's agent?
I feel like he would have said that.
I think he would.
The one question I didn't ask Nate, and for those who just getting fully caught up, Nate had discussed how he was acting on behalf of Ezra in terms of being an agent for him during this offseason. The one question I had on the tip of my tongue that I didn't get to is, are you going to represent anyone maybe you don't like? Like, will that be tough? Was there a competitor?
Well, is it tough to represent him when you're sponsored by Discmania? Like, where I think Nate has a very, very good head on his shoulder, so he can see that, like, I bet you stats wise, him and Ezra probably pair up pretty evenly right now. I mean, Ezra obviously has a cannon for an arm, but I wonder if he can look at that and go, okay, I'm making, as we found out, $2 a night strike. Should Ezra make $2.50? Should Ezra make $1.50 per night strike, or whatever that number is? I have to wonder how hard it is for him to be a third party
and maybe
that
not
certain
totally
negotiation.
biased.
Yeah, and I don't think Nate probably has an issue with it. He seems like he's very, very. If he wants to do this in the future, then he has to be, and I'm sure he understands that. But
yeah, or what happens when, he potentially they put an offer, or a company comes to them and makes them an offer that is seemingly far more generous, or could be considered more generous, and Nate's thinking, well, man, I beat this guy in these 6 out of 7 categories, and he's about to land this other bigger deal. Now, again,
that's what you do. That's what you do. And I'm curious, as an agent, and I didn't feel it was appropriate to ask him. Maybe, is he taking a 10% cut? Is that like that's
40,
kind of
50.
A standard agent cut, from my understanding, is usually about 10%. I'd love to know that. Is he going for like?
I would hope so. There should be a cut.
I would think so. I didn't know if 5, 10, or is this something Nate's doing for Ezra, maybe out of the kindness of his heart, in order to maybe build
his client
base. Yeah.
Throw out some pro bono action.
Yeah. Like you're a big U2 fan, like you're pro bono.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Ezra at the Edge. No, Ezra the Edge. Maybe Bono. Okay.
No.
Good questions, and it will be interesting, as Nate is so deeply involved with the game. Now, just to maybe just throw this out there a little bit more, I think of, I'll throw out a name, a Dave Greenwell, who's been around the game forever. What is he, Pdga 962? Been around the game forever, has been sponsored, has won world titles, obviously, one of the most decorated players of all time, but is in his later years of golf, and I see someone like him as this ideal agent, and I'm not dismissing anything of Nate or anyone else. I'm just saying, like, because Dave's not going to have any of those conflicts.
Correct.
They just wouldn't even come about at all. Now, Dave, in this specific case, in my example, is part of Pdga. Last time I checked, so ignoring that fact, of course, let's take that out of the equation. Someone who isn't sponsored per se right now, but has those years of experience. I see someone like that also being a really good.
I don't
or maybe
know.
not, because you think he's too far removed.
I think he might be too far removed. Nate is in a what I was thinking, in a perfect position where he can say, "Oh, I see and hear all these pros. I'm sure they all talk. I'm sure they have a general idea." Nate dropped the info that Paige is about to be a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Probably sometime by this year. It made it seem he kind of knows what she's making. I'd make the assumption he probably knows in general what Simon Lizotte is making.
Mm-hmm.
He knows, what
Conrad's seeking out.
Yeah, what Conrad's seeking out. He knows all these things. I don't know if Greenwell would know that information anymore. So he might be a little bit removed. Not to say he couldn't find that out. He couldn't work his way into that. But being on the tour gives someone a leg up to start with.
Yeah, again, yeah. Nate is clearly more in sync in terms of being 100%, in the inside in really all of the facets and capacities that he is being involved with disc golf. So it will be interesting to see how it continues to shake out. The question on the board was asked about, wasn't there a big time agent a couple years ago, and
there was that agency group that popped in.
DGI
group. I remember because it was the same as Will.
Yep, disc golf instruction. Yep, and
they made a splash, and then didn't really do much.
Anything.
No, that's not true, because I believe for Paul's contract with Discraft, they were involved. And my it's not really worth it to totally just yeah. I mean,
to stomp on this whole thing in the sense. But I will say, my understanding is they were involved, and they very well didn't need to be. I think something like that was happening anyway, and I don't even know if they were fully involved with that actually.
I had thought I'd heard from someone say that they're. They
at
were
any rate
involved in that, but we haven't really had an agent or management group that has done anything significant in the sport. You and I, God, it was probably 10, 15 years ago. Yeah, it's probably that we were talking about this, you know, working with Barry Schultz at the time. Like, oh, you know, Barry he should have an agent, you know, why couldn't you or I do something like that? And,
For sure.
You know, and clearly we went a different way. We went media. And,
yeah. And to bring it back to that, to the other company, there was a lot of cynicism and skepticism. And I'll admit, I kept most of mine at bay and in check, although I had it. And unfortunately, we were proved, the skeptics were proved right, that it turned out to be seemingly useless and fruitless in every possible way. And that's not to say, you know, I'm out bashing anyone that, I mean, people got to try. I understand that. I've got plenty of failed attempts at things, so I'm not bashing it for that reason. It's just, it's unfortunate because there was such a big splash that seemed completely fruitless, and I guess I'd be a bigger fan if people would have a little proof, show themselves, prove themselves, and then maybe talk about where things are going versus, oh, hey, we're a really big deal and we're going to flutter into nothingness.
Yeah, that's one way to do it.
It's one way.
Expectations being set in different areas.
So yeah, I guess that's where we could say. Cody does ask, can we speak of Paul McBeth's proposed touring schedule? Will he be in an RV or flying to all these events? 30 I counted, maybe.
That's a lot.
I will admit, when in seeing, I think it was just yesterday, McBeth, for instance, had lots of our players are putting up their tour schedules, which is always great. If you really want my rant about that, every idiot saying, but dude, you're not stopping at my C tier on this one weekend. I know. I mean,
we see less and less of that.
I know
now
the European Open is happening, but you really should check out my C tier. It's a great course.
I think we see less and less of that because the events, the players, everybody knows what the tour is now. So that's the funny part is.
But you've got a week off.
I know.
Like you're going to be in Minnesota one week and you're going to be in Michigan the next. Like, dude, stop in Wisconsin.
Yeah. I think most of these tour schedules are going to look close to, if not identical to each other's. You know, you might get the random, hey, I'm going to go to here for an A tier, or I always go. I was looking at Nate and there was no Silver Cup on his schedule, which is something he has been going to.
Correct. Well, that makes sense because Silver Cup is the same weekend as, I think, the Junior Worlds this year and the PCS Open in Norway.
Okay.
That July, 10th, 11th, 12th weekend. So is he listed for Sula?
I do not.
PCS Sula?
He is not listed for Sula right now.
Registration might not be open for that yet.
So, but he's probably scheduled it. I mean, he is scheduled to go overseas. And
it would be the week before... Silver Cup is the week before the European Open.
Yeah, and that was just kind of my thought process when I saw Nate's, large schedule here, that it wasn't in his, it wasn't on his schedule, and I thought, well, he's probably doing something else, but.
Yeah, so to I guess follow that up again, we saw Paul McBeth yesterday at 3:00. He had posted for all those stalkers out there that need to know where he is. He had posted February 21st, the Disc Golf Pro Tour All Stars. I kind of touched on it last week. I'd kind of love to know more details about that event, but we've seen Chris Dickerson and Paul McBeth both say they're attending.
We know the weekend.
We know the weekend, and I think we know the location is Arizona. The following week, Las Vegas, and then here I think I'm just going to say this one. I think this will be one of the more interesting events of the year to keep an eye on is the Memorial, because this year it is not a pro tour or a national tour stop, and it's going to be a huge event. I think it's going to be a great event. It's been running for 30 some years. But it's going to be just very hit or miss on who's going there.
Well, and Paul puts it on his list, but he's not currently registered. Right now, the Memorial has Devin Owens at 1036, Adam Hammes, Kale, Drew Gibson, Presnell, Clemens, Thomas Earhart, Gavin Rathbun, Yuli, Kyle Klein,
so on and so forth. But it doesn't have Eagle. It doesn't have Simon. It doesn't have Ricky. It doesn't have Paul. or listed. I'm sorry, listed on the actual official registration yet. So it'll be interesting to see who actually hits it up and who opts to, to make that their travel week to maybe get over to Texas, because obviously the weekend before is Vegas, and then the weekend after the Memorial is again going to be the Waco Annual Charity Open, the next stop on the Pro Tour. And then you see a couple of the Silver Series. The Open at Belton is on the Silver Series, and then the National Tour kicks off in Texas, being at the Texas State Championships. Steve O'Story and crew going to be kicking that off at the end of March. And then, so on and so forth as you go down. And you see a lot of what you would expect, of course, on the list. The first comment on Paul's pages, no throw down the mountain this year. Was the very first thing that I see as the comment. And throw down the mountain actually in Florida conflicts directly with the Open at Belton, which is a Silver Series event, and everyone's in Texas. So you've got 3 straight weekends in Texas.
That hasn't stopped him before.
Correct. So
I do find it interesting. I mean, obviously he has the events. How many events he's playing? We've seen in the past 3, 4, 5 years, not 5, but like 3 years or so, he has scaled down to about 20 events. Mm-hmm. Give or take random.
And this year, I mean,
random like C tiers or whatever he'll throw in at the end of the season or filler. He's got a full schedule this year, so I don't know if that just goes to show his dedication to the year, or if he is jonesing to play, or just he has other ideas. If he's treating this more like I don't want to say like a tour or like a job, because he's always done that, but if he's trying to be more public facing. I don't know the thought process behind it, because clearly he doesn't have to go to all these events. There's no reason he needs to go to any Silver Series event.
Other than he wants to.
Yeah. And maybe that comes along with his touring, he's tight with Brody, the foundation, Hunter. Maybe they're going to be touring together for a while, and maybe that's just kind of a given. I'd love to run that past Brody's tour schedule to see what he's doing this year, to see what type of overlap there is. I don't know.
Quick side note, shout out to my boy Steve Rico over at Legacy. Also, one of the first comments under Paul's post, he said, "I'm really excited about my Wednesday weekly coming up. Should be a blast." After Paul posted his entire tour schedule. So kudos to you, Steve Rico. Solid comment. I do like that one.
Which is funny, because Steve, I think it can be very funny on social media sometimes, but I feel sometimes he just misses things go over his head, and he's a short guy, so it's not too tough.
Ouch. He's going to beat you up.
He would and
I
could.
know. He should. I'll go that far.
I might be able to outrun him.
No.
Probably not. I got long legs.
I don't care.
But he's in way better shape.
Yeah, he's got you, bro. So again, all of our players are continuing to have their schedules released, and it will be awesome to see where these people are going to line up, who takes on what kind of priorities. I think talking to like a Chris Dickerson, who has traditionally kept himself within a certain range. We see that expanding a little this year. We see him; he's going to get on a plane, which he's never been on one. So I know he's flying to a couple of events this year, and he's planning to go to Europe for the European Open and for the Silver Series event, or I'm sorry, for the Pro Tour event, the PCS Sula Open. So. It's awesome to see the excitement of all of our players, and then what that means for their fans, and of course what it means entirely for disc golf. I'm going to briefly touch on this one, and I maybe hesitate to just slightly, but there was, speaking of the Silver Series, there was a little kerfuffle, little brush up, an event. And a course out on the East Coast has a sign posted that was really brought to light. A sign posted that was kind of discouraging. It was a picture of Brody.
And it said Brody's with the
wrong form,
apostrophe.
With an unnecessary possessive apostrophe.
First thing
which
I called
personally
out.
Just drives me crazy. I don't care what you do. good, bad, or indifferent. Like when your grammar's off, like, and you only have a few words, and one of the words is wrong, and it really gave this notion of it. And I'm going to take my interpretation. It gave the notion of behavior on the course, and it was utilizing Brody's picture, but then trying to, I don't know if curtail is the right word. It was an attempt at a PSA that many would judge in poor taste, and I'll get on that. I'll get on that train of thought.
We can bring it up here.
I like the idea of a PSA. The problem is when you attach an individual who doesn't really stand for any of those things, or isn't subject to any of those things, or isn't part of those problems, I see how it can definitely miss the mark. And one could argue there's been way overreaction. One can argue that it should never happen in the first place. I understand all of those arguments, and I can agree with a lot of various points and sides to it.
Well, clearly the mentality or the thought process behind it, I'll make a broad assumption here, is that Brody's attracting a whole bunch of players. And the idea is to tell these new players, hey, these are the rules of the course. Please don't litter, please don't break laurels, and please return lost discs. The problem is, by attaching Brody to it, it does give the feeling that this is something that Brody or someone in his crew would do, which is clearly not the case. It's kind of a knock on the type of people maybe that Brody's bringing into the sport, is the way I completely took it.
Like, yeah, it's like an assumption and a stigma.
Yeah,
that an assumed maybe either a stigma or stereotyping, and
because for better or worse, before I would say before this last year, if you were to ask most people, hey, what type of player is Brody going to bring in? Most people would probably answer like kind of a collegey meathead.
That if that's what fits his demographic, and clearly I don't.
And that was before.
Sure,
we knew what this was. That's why I phrased it as I did from back then, and because he has this big YouTube presence, and that's just kind of the dude perfect type, the bros is really. But I was not extremely, as I said, it's too bad that they took this really good message for new players and wrapped it in kind of this crappy sandwich.
Well, here's the funny part. You literally add 4 letters, and it serves the same purpose and is 1,000,000 times more beneficial to literally everyone.
Just I said Brody says.
Or tips. TIPS. Brody's tips. Yep. Please don't litter. Please don't break laurels. Please return lost discs. You can use his face. You can use his likeness at that point. It's a positive stance. And you're kind of gaining the best of all the worlds. Is there any drawback to that?
No.
If that says Brody's tips under it? Nope. Like, I feel like it's funny how those 4 letters, obvious, and letters matter, folks. I understand this.
Letters, commas,
that's not lost on me.
apostrophes.
That's not lost on me. But I'm just saying, the damage is done in that sense or whatever. I'm not trying to rectify this or anything. I'm just saying, if it just said Brody's tips at this point, everything is good in the world, really, by everyone's case, and Brody has taken it personally, and I understand some people have now come back at him and said, "Hey,
chill out,
dude. Yeah, you're overreacting." No, let's face it. No matter how big you are, I don't care if you're. Believe it or not, Brad Pitt still doesn't like to be made fun of. He might seem like he's got everything in the world. Nobody loves to get picked on. Does it come with being in the public eye and the spotlight? Of course it does. Unfortunately, it's going to happen. But still, nobody loves it and should be like, yeah, I love getting antagonized, even if I'm rich or famous. Like, so it's just, we are still a Frisbee family. We are still a tight-knit community. And I can understand how Brody was frustrated by this. Now,
of course,
does the whole world need to melt?
No.
I'll say that it doesn't. Disc golf's going to carry on and be just as big in 2021. This has
hopefully.
I feel like this has just missed the mark. So And I understand there's a lot of different arguments to it on every side.
I know we were talking earlier, we'll move off this subject, talking earlier about, discs being in stock, and I was kind of thinking, like, is the best place to get a disc going to be Played Again Sports this year? As we see all these people who, like, played last year and are like, not for me. Or I've got other things I can do now, and they turn in their discs. And if the manufacturers can't keep up, or maybe they can now, is Played Again Sports going to be our...
They're making bank, finally?
Finally making bank off these discs.
You can get that old baseball glove and a new disc.
That's right. It's going to be interesting. Terry, I have a project. I want you to go to Played Again Sports once a week, just all of them in the area, and write down inventories.
Good idea.
All right, so we got it? Good.
And indirect shout out, Played Again Sports, I know, is sponsoring the putting league I referenced in the previous show.
Great.
They're sponsoring or somehow involved with the putting league that starts tomorrow in the Milwaukee area. Again, we'll move off of it. I know, and to give it another twist to all of this, there's plenty of people that have either arrived at it themselves or intentioned as, hey, that wasn't negative at all. That's not how it was meant. And somebody's misinterpreting. That very well could be happening too. Who knows? But this was certainly part of the narrative of things that have happened in the last week, and it was worth bringing to attention. I will side, though, a little bit when someone says if Paul or Brody didn't talk about it, like, it would have probably swept under the rug 10 times faster. But they brought more attention to it.
Oh, yeah.
Which then has its pros and cons as well, as does all press.
I mean, yeah.
Anyway, all right. Ray says, Played Again Sports is good because they usually don't know what goodies they actually have. I would agree with that, but I feel like that culture is probably going to change. I feel like you're going to get...
I don't think so. I don't think the people at Played Again will realize. I
think some employees, though. I think you're going to get employees in there.
Maybe.
That are familiar with golf or have taken to it or have gotten excited about it. And I just feel like more and more, just like... Yeah, I just feel like you're going to get more educated employees just out of just sheer numbers of employees. I think it's going to be more likely. But you're right. Sometimes a few gems. That's one of my favorites on Facebook. Someone's like, "Dude, pick this up at a local Played Again for $4.99, and it's arguably worth $80 or something." It's like
my favorite are the ones that are like just they're all signed. Like, you've seen so many people. I bet you. It's once every 3 to 4 months, someone will say, "Hey, pick this up at Played Again." It has like 4 pro signatures on it because someone got it and then either threw it and lost it and turned it, or they just didn't want it anymore. And you're just like, "Oh, wow, that's weird that your disc was signed by Nate Perkins and James Conrad, and and you've just found that into Played Again."
Okay, now so you guys are continuing to chatter back and forth. Bringing this full circle, though, real quick, a number of the Disc Golf Pro Tour Silver Series events this year, and this is purely selfish, are either courses and or events I'm not personally familiar with. And that means nothing other than I'm just sharing, because I feel like I have been fortunate enough to attend a ton of events. So what I'm really getting at is I'm kind of excited. I mean, if they've gained the recognition or clout or have proven that they're worthy of being a Disc Golf Pro Tour Silver Series event, I'm kind of excited to see what they have going on. We have the Belton event, which I know has been going on for years. And again, this is all personal. Many of you will be like, "Dude, that event's been awesome for 10 years. I absolutely would assume that. I'm just saying I haven't personally seen or experienced it. But Stafford comes to mind. Belton, the new one in Arkansas that I haven't seen before. I have not personally been to the Goat Hill event. So, I mean, those all right off the top of my head, I think are all events that are going to be completely new to me. And then the Missouri event, right? Mid-America. So I think all 6 of those would be technically new courses or new events that I haven't been part of or introduced to in the past. So excited to see how that goes.
Mm-hmm. Let's give something away, though.
Oh, gosh. I'm going to give away a free sign, and the second gift is a free apostrophe. You guys can see where you need to put them. wherever they're best suited. Okay, just kidding. All right, yeah, let's give some stuff away.
All right, so Phil. All right, cool. There we go. I just had to pull up this spreadsheet.
Okay.
So the reason why we give things away is because we have Patreon supporters. Oh my gosh. Patreon supporters are the lifeblood of SmashBoxxTV. We love them more than anybody. Without them, we would be broke. And broken.
Yeah.
Both.
Yes.
Broken. If you want to be a Patreon supporter, you can go to patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. We have all sorts of fun stuff. Tara and I are gonna have a little conversation after this about the about our yearly disc and get that taken care of hopefully pretty quick. We have different levels of Patreon support. You can go to the website and see them. We talk about them almost every week, so I'm not gonna bore you with them here.
Let's get Night Strike 4s made up with our logo. No.
Yeah, good idea.
I think there's a oxymoron in there. I don't think it can be.
Good idea. All right, so we have 198 people eligible for our giveaway this week. Terry, are you eligible? Did you sign up yet?
I'm actually waiting on my Disc Golf Guy Patreon account so that I can afford to be a SmashBoxxTV patron.
That's a good plan right there, Terry.
That way I can give you roughly half of... That sounds like a good idea.
You should. You know what? How about I'm your agent, and then I take 10 more %. I get
Perfect.
I get an extra
Perfect.
cut then.
I like where you're going with this.
All right, 198 people eligible. Let's give away something. I have no clue what we're going to give away, Terry.
I've got some goodies.
Give away Terry's goodies.
Yeah, well, I'll find a goodie for you. I actually just dug up a few more goodies recently, but no, I've got some goodies.
Of course you did.
And we'll find something to give to you.
So what number? We have 198 people eligible.
It's our second podcast of 2021, so 2.
All right,
Second
so our
person.
first number is 172. I sorted them by first name.
I was always going to ask.
I know you were.
Wow, 189
so
near
way
the
at the
bottom.
Tim Courts, who's on the board right now. Tim Courts, congratulations.
Tim?
Yeah, Tim.
Timmer.
Awesome. Congratulations, Tim. I'm glad. I don't know if we've given anything away to Tim yet on a weekly drawing. He'd have to let us know.
I don't know, but Tim, you know what else you have also won is the opportunity to design. Wow, the opportunity to design the Patreon supporter disc for 2021. I think Tim does graphic design.
Tim does do graphic design.
So Tim, you lucky duckling.
Stand Tall Studios. Yeah, I believe we are still streaming on Twitch right now. We have one Twitch viewer right now.
Holy
so maybe
cow. What's their
that's
name?
you. I don't know. So shout out to our Twitch supporter, our Twitch viewer. All right.
Twitching all days.
We have another giveaway.
All right, let's do it. So, let's go with the second again.
Again, number 2. All right, we're going to do the second one. So our first one is 47. Our second one is 35.
Ooh, way
so
up
to
top
the
now.
top.
Wow.
Look
really?
at that. 35 is
don't be a C word.
Bryant Chamberlain.
Bryant
Chamberlain. Congratulations, Bryant Chamberlain. We will get...
I got some goodies for you,
Terry's
Bryant.
got some goodies. And if you don't like his goodies, just reach out. It's Terry at the Disc Golf Guy. And you just yell at him.
I make no promises, but I got some goodies for you.
So goodies better include
Bryant and Tim, what we'll do is we'll probably have to send you a message just to confirm that we have your correct mailing address. And here's a quick PSA at the beginning of the new year. I know that everyone isn't required necessarily, whatever level you are supporting us on Patreon, to put in your address. But, pro tip, if you put in your address into your Patreon account and we draw your name, the chances of you getting your disc or prize quicker and more efficiently rise exponentially if your address is already in there, because otherwise we usually spend anywhere from a week to 6 to 9 weeks going back and forth trying to get hunt you down, make sure we got the right email, make sure it didn't go into spam, and then you message back and say, yes, here's my address, and then you say, oh no, actually I moved last week, here's my new address. Like if it's in your Patreon account, it's great to usually just pull from that. Keep
Shout
that
out
updated.
to Tyler Helmke, who is a new Patreon supporter as of about a half hour ago.
Oh, Tyler,
So
we
thank
love
you,
it. Sorry you
Tyler.
didn't win tonight, Tyler. We got you in there, but
We did that a
didn't
couple
win.
weeks ago where we gave a winner out to someone who had just signed up. But tonight, it's Old Faithful for Tim. So thank you, Tim.
I love it. Tim says my address is in Patreon is right.
Yes,
well,
it
that's
is.
perfect. Wow. I bet yours goes out as early as tomorrow.
Yep. And I'm reaching out to Miles probably tomorrow about the clothing. I think we're gonna do a cap, like a knit cap.
Ooh.
So a Smashbox knit cap for winter. So I'm going to reach out to Miles, get that all taken care of, and hopefully we'll get those out to our $10 supporters as soon as he can get them and print them up. So
I'm liking that.
again, thanks to all of our supporters. We love you all.
Yes. Especially our $10 ones.
Oh, yeah, I love those people. I give them hugs. That's how much I love them.
Even when they don't ask for them.
Even when they don't ask for them, sometimes I sneak up on them. They don't even know I'm in town.
You love the behind the back hug.
Just the side. Actually, I got long arms, so the side is
the
really,
hidden
yeah.
hidden in the from around the corner.
Yep.
Jump out
I
around the back.
Usually wait in a bush.
Yeah,
Miles, reach out to me. I see Miles on the board. Let's put a Smashbox logo on a nice winter knit cap.
I think they should be hand knit. I don't want you buying some generic beanie that's blue and white for Smashbox colors. I would love them hand knit. Miles.
Okay, Miles. I was gonna say, are you volunteering my wife for that? Because she does stuff like that.
No, I want Miles to hand knit them. I mean, if we pay the band.
That's true. I bet you if we pay him enough, he would.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. All right, Johnny. What else do we have? Anything?
Is there anything else on the board anyone want to talk to?
I was going to say not non-political. I know that rules the.
That's tough.
The interwebs these days, and I understand that. Anything that's not politically driven. How about entertainment? Again, that's not political. Any entertainment in terms of things you've been watching or consuming?
A lot of nerdy stuff, sci-fi stuff. Finished up.
Yeah, I'm already bored.
Season 3 of Star Trek Discovery.
Yep,
it was good.
And
then immediately canceled CBS All Access.
Oh,
so that's good. The Expanse is still happening, so I'm trying to catch up on that. I think I might be all caught up. I'm not sure. I need to double check if I've watched the most recent episode. My wife and I watched Castle Rock, which I think I talked about a little bit. That was on Hulu.
Okay.
Where it's basically based in like a Stephen King universe. So lots of kind of Easter eggs and offshoots of that. So now we finished that last week, and we just started the newest season of Cobra Kai. So we're catching up on that now.
I think we talked about this, but I would probably find it entertaining, Cobra Kai. Is that correct? Probably, maybe.
First season was good. Second season was, third season, it's almost turning into more of a teen drama. So we'll see. I mean, it's not.
So you're liking it more.
Yeah. I mean, it's very CW-ish. Third season isn't bad so far. We're about halfway through it. If you've seen Karate Kid 1 and 2, I'm assuming.
Yeah. It's been a long time, but yeah.
Exactly. So lots of callbacks to those. In fact, there's a lot of even flashbacks where they show parts of the movie during the show. It's fun. It really is. Season 1 is, I think, the best season. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now.
Okay. I'll read a few notes off the board here. Hope you had a Merry Christmas. Yes, whoever said that, thank you. Hope everyone's had a good Merry Christmas. Media from Downey's Players Cup, Yuli, German, Ricky were there. Mainly Cody was talking about that. WandaVision, first episode.
Ooh, that's on Friday.
Yeah. What's the premise?
I'm not even gonna bother.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'll skip it then.
Yeah.
Discovery was good. Castle Rock also very good. Derek says. Derek, again, thank you earlier for the super chat. How about the drone follow flights from the Skins match on GK Pro? I will be the first to admit I did not get a chance to see those, but I know some people are talking about them. And if those were the speed racing drones, probably, right? That sounds like something that I at least tentatively heard about. So that's pretty cool.
All right, Terry, want to play a little game real quick here?
Probably not. When you turn your screen away from me, I'm assuming it's probably not a good idea.
We're into 2021 now.
Okay.
And one of my favorite things is the Google year in review for 2020. So things that were searched for, things that, people looked for.
This is Google search?
This is Google search. So the world, whoever searched for this. Can you tell me what the number one search was for 2020? Just in general.
I mean, generally speaking, it's got to be something related to COVID.
That's number 2.
Damn it.
Coronavirus.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just United States, not worldwide.
Oh, just the U.S.
So this is the U.S. I could change it to worldwide, but I went with U.S.
They came in a little too late. I mean,
because if you're right, if it was global, that would be the number one answer.
Yeah,
on the board.
I mean, I don't think my searches probably bumped this up, but Kanye and Kim Kardashian. Just kidding. No, I think I cheated and saw your screen before you moved it. If it's an insect. Was that the number one search or no?
No.
I saw, okay, murder hornets, I think. When you were just dabbling in something, I saw murder hornets was searched probably more this year than any other year, which would make sense.
Sure.
But that's not the number one thing searched in the U.S. this year?
No.
Okay, then
it's pretty obvious once you say it.
I was going to say either election.
Ding, ding, ding.
Election, or my second guess to that would have been something like stimulus.
Yep.
I would assume would be another common one up there.
Number 1, election results. Number 2, coronavirus.
Oh yeah, Tiger King is a good suggestion.
Nope, too long ago. Number 4, coronavirus. Number 5, coronavirus symptoms. So 3 of the top 5
is
are,
vaccine.
Number 7, who's winning the election. All right, so
okay,
who was the number 1 person searched for?
I feel like it's got to be either Trump or Biden.
Joe Biden. Trump didn't even make the top 10.
Wow, that's really surprising.
Yep, and this is just the United States.
Okay.
Number 2, Kim Jong-un. Probably from earlier in the year.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The number 1 athlete. Can you name 2 of the top 5 athletes?
No, it's probably like that Ronaldo feller who I don't
remember. This is just the U.S.
David Beckham. No. Okay, so if it's just from the U.S., oh geez.
The first one, I don't even know who it is.
that says something.
Yeah.
If you don't know who it is and it's an athlete,
okay,
of any kind,
I assumed what it was.
Unless it's soccer or swimming
or racing.
Oh, racing.
Ryan Newman. Don't know Ryan Newman.
Okay.
But can you give me 2?
Mahomes.
Not in the top 10.
Wow, that's crazy. The Greek Freak feller.
Not in the top 10.
Wow. Aaron Rodgers? Probably not. He wouldn't be Googled.
Close though. You're hitting the right sport now.
Okay, I was gonna say like a Devontae Adams, but he wouldn't be more than Aaron Rodgers.
Who made the big move this year? Who's playing this weekend?
The Cleveland Browns feller?
Nope. Tom Brady. Tom Brady, number 2 search. Number 3, Bubba Wallace, another racer. He had
that was the
incident with the noose that wasn't a noose. Number 4, Mike Tyson. So
I guess I could see that with the fight and whatnot. Okay.
All right.
Great.
You might get this one. Can you tell me? And you can tell me 1. All right. How about this? Can you give me 2 of the top 10 games that were searched for? Video games.
Oh, video games.
Video games. 2 of the top 10 I'm going to give you.
Gosh, I don't know that I could. I mean, I just only because I can only name 1 or 2, like some kind of Call of Duty or Modern Warfare or Call of Duty type.
Nope, not.
Wow, that's not even in the top 10.
Not even in the top 10.
Oh yeah, definitely Among Us.
Cody Garner nails it with Among Us.
Yeah, and I'm not looking at the board there, but Among Us should be one of them. And Roblox has to be another one that I would think would
not
be in there,
on the top 10.
Or no, there. But I feel like that's
Kendall,
Adopt Me. Is Adopt Me in there?
It is not. No. Sorry, Cyberpunk. It was not the other one. It's, for those of you that were Carney Shill. He puts Animal Planet. I think you meant Animal Crossing. But yes, that is in there.
Okay.
The number 2 was Fall Guys, which is the streaming one where your guy looks like a blob and he has to go through these different
never heard of it. Okay.
Valorant, which is a first-person shooter. Dust on the board is very familiar with it. Genshin Impact, Ghost of Tsushima, Sashimi. Sorry, Animal Crossing, Assassin's Creed, Last of Us 2, Madden, and Jackbox.
Okay, yeah, Madden and Jackbox are two that I maybe could have arrived at eventually.
Okay, here you go. Can you give me 2 of the top 5? How to make ... Think of the year, buddy.
I was just gonna say how to make a mask.
How to make a mask with a bandana. Number 4. Or number 5. How to make a mask without sewing.
Okay.
I'll give you.
Okay, I could see that.
Number 2. How to make a mask with fabric. So 3 of the top 5 are how to make a mask. Can you give me one more?
I was gonna say how to make your Zoom call work. No. How to make.
Yep.
Is the
What was the other thing everybody was desperate to get early in the year? It's Jerry Ray Zerhausen says how to make toilet paper at home. No.
How to make your own hand sanitizer.
Ding.
Yeah,
Nailed it.
okay.
The other number 3, whipped coffee.
That's number 3.
Yeah. Number 6, how to make cloud bread. So there was a big making bread was huge this year.
Okay.
Because everyone was stuck at home.
If your name's Jeff Bezos, maybe.
Hey, how to make a Bitmoji classroom. All right. Oh wow. This is a tough one, Terry.
Okay.
Musicians and bands.
Yeah, I should just flat out skip. I'll think of my kids. Cardi B.
No. How about this though?
WAP.
That was under songs, or actually that was under definitions. People looking up. It was number 1 search. We talked about this artist earlier in the show.
We talked about this artist musically. We talked about this artist. I mean, I don't pay any attention to you.
No lying.
You too? No, what?
No, we did talk about you too. Shakira.
Oh, Shakira.
She's the number 1 search.
What?
Shakira. Yeah. Number 1, Shakira. Number 2.
To be funny,
August
you did
Alsina.
just Google her earlier, so I guess that is kind of funny.
Yeah. Number 2, August Alsina, Adele, Doja Cat, Grimes, Van Halen, Lizzo. I thought you might get.
Yeah, Lizzo.
Tamar Braxton, Quando Rondo, and Tori Lanez.
Not the Stallion?
No. Let's see here.
Keep in mind, folks, just a quick disclaimer. I don't care much about music, period. I haven't for at least 30 years, 20 years. And then the little bit that I do is some form of overhearing from my 2 TikToking daughters.
Yeah.
So I've all but checked out of music, large in part, and I'll be the first to admit
you
that.
checked out of music like 10 to 12 years ago.
Yeah,
and
I did.
And it stopped at the 90s. And
yeah.
We're okay with that. Okay. TV shows. Top searched TV shows. You got this, Terry. I want 3 of the top 10.
TV shows or like any kind of series,
series.
like a Shameless.
Does
that count? Is that what you're going for?
Yeah, something like that.
Otherwise, I would say like The Masked Singer.
Not on here.
I feel like Ellen was probably searched a lot because there was so much drama around her.
Most of them are streamed.
Yeah, see that's where I'm gonna get.
We talked about one earlier. Two of them actually. We've talked
Yeah,
about.
I was gonna say. Letterkenny is one that I can't imagine that's
People on the board are nailing it.
okay. Yeah. Tiger
King is
yeah.
the number one.
Yeah, that's probably no surprise. Queen's Gambit.
Yep. There you go. Number 5.
I saw that out there. Yeah, and then Mandalorian, I guess, would probably make sense. Outside of that,
It did not make the top 10. Mandalorian didn't. It also came out way later in the year.
and then it's got to be The Bachelor.
Nope. Cobra Kai, number 2. Ozark, number 3. Umbrella Academy, number 4, which was really good. Queen's Gambit, 5. Little Fires Everywhere. Outer Banks, Ratched, All American, and then The Last Dance.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's. I mean, it is what it is, but so many of those I know nothing about.
Yep. Yeah. Some of the other funny ones, which I don't expect you to get. Where to buy PS5.
Okay.
Where to buy toilet paper.
I was gonna say
and
that.
where to buy face masks. Yeah, that's your year in review, Terry. In case the top 5 definitions that people looked up. Number 1 was WAP.
WAP. Yep.
Number 2, entanglement, which I'm political.
Quid pro quo. Is that on there?
Antebellum, pandemic, and asymptomatic.
Okay.
And Juneteenth, IPOC, BIPOC,
Mm-hmm.
quarantine, simp, and furlough.
Okay.
So
I'm sensing a theme there.
Can you name any of the top 10 actors?
Oh, geez.
They're all people you know.
Yeah.
7 out of 10, I would say you know for sure.
It's so funny because now I think about like what I've actually seen.
And that's the hard part because this year there was like no movies. So what
like
actors?
Jim Carrey.
That would have been a good one.
I would think.
He's not on here.
Does he have stuff going on? Isn't he doing things?
He might be. Number 1, Tom Hanks.
Oh.
He did have a couple streaming movies. Number 2, Chris D'Elia, who is a comedian.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That he's number 2?
Well, he had a little issue. He had a little run-in with a little Me Too incident, so that would kind of probably explain it.
Oh, I don't even remember that.
Yeah, Jada Pinkett Smith, number 3. Timothy Chalamet, number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky Gervais, Amber Heard, Jaquan Phoenix, Danny Masterson, Ryan Dorsey, and then Leah Michele.
That's funny. Joaquin Phoenix was one I was going to guess because I was thinking of Joker and like,
yeah,
he was the Joker, right? Or
yep.
he was, yeah.
Joaquin.
That's the one person I was thinking of. And I was like, well, I don't know what year that was. What year are we in?
It technically came out last year or 2019.
Yeah. So that would have been my one guess if I was going to go with any actual actors.
So.
Wow.
Yeah, that is your year in search for 2020.
Huh.
It's one of my favorite things to do at the beginning of every year. I like to quiz you to see how out of touch are we?
Yeah, and clearly some of it I didn't have to Google quarantine. I probably did Google the official definition of quarantine. I'll admit that, even though I think everybody thinks or thought what that word meant maybe was a little different than what they assumed, possibly. A lot of those other words, I'm glad I didn't have to.
Are you glad you didn't have to look up, or that you knew?
That's what I mean. It's because I actually knew the word.
I mean,
asymptomatic. I think I had a pretty good wraparound.
How about WAP?
I knew what that was.
Okay.
My 12-year-old does. My 12-year-old daughter does.
That's
my 9-year-old daughter
awkward.
thinks it's something else that's hilarious, and she's not joking when she says it. That what she thinks is it's like
probably for the best.
Yeah, it's like waffles and pizza or something like that. It's hilarious.
That is great.
It's and for anyone that knows, as Mackenzie was on the board earlier, my 9-year-old is the cruder, more rowdy one. So the fact that she does not know the definition is surprising and funny because she thinks it's like waffles and pizza.
I do want to make a correction. I was reading those pretty fast. So Joaquin Phoenix, obviously, I think I
called him Jackie.
I saw Jackie because I didn't realize who it was when I read the name, and I thought it was someone I
let
know.
it slide. I was playing good host.
You did.
I let you slide. Normally I'd call you out on your ignorance and your stupidity.
I know who Joaquin Phoenix is. Yeah,
I figured I'd let the internet roast you on their own,
and they would have. So I'm right now. I'm calling myself.
To be fair,
out,
that's
so
a tough one. If like,
with-
unless you literally know him, you would never know that.
And I do, and obviously, there are some names in here, like, we'll just say, even though it's easy to pronounce, Ryan Newman, I had no clue who he was.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was reading it very fast and I just kind of spit it out. So, but yes, I do know who Joaquin Phoenix is.
Reading off the board, Galactic Conqueror, who's always quite active, we appreciate it, says, I got a Blizzard 150 T-Devil the other day. I threw it, and it flew way more overstable than it should have. The previous one I got was flippy as heck. Discuss.
That was the problem with Blizzard plastic, was that you had to really examine it or even throw it to know what it did, and which is probably why we don't see much of it anymore, because it had the bubbles in the flight plate versus bubbles in the rim.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some of them that are still probably pretty sought after, depending on what they are.
Somebody just literally texted me last night and said, do you have any Blizzard bosses from 2014 that have the bubbles in the flight plate? I swear, yesterday I got that text.
I'm sure you do.
And I do, but I don't know where they are. I know they're buried. I know I kept some. And later in the night, when I was doing some digging and found some beautiful gems, by the way, of other discs, I wrote him back and I said, hey, I just found some Blizzard bosses that I ordered at the beginning of this year that I had taken to Taiwan. I have a few left, and I have a Blizzard boss that doesn't have bubbles, and he said, I think I'm still interested, and so I can offer him that. But it's just funny that we're talking about bubbles in the flight plate, and that was a message I got via Facebook last night.
That's pretty funny.
So yes, to discuss it though, yeah, Johnny hit the nail on the head. Some of those were incredibly, they just didn't seem consistent in the sense that somebody would be like, yeah, I got a 132 katana and it's like more stable than an Excalibur. And you're like, what? Like, it just seems crazy. And then you'd get a 148 Wraith and it would be super flippy and it wouldn't fly anything like your 175 Wraith. And then you'd grab another one that would fly like your 175 Wraith. So unfortunately, I feel like a lot of those were trial and error. Now, that was years ago. I don't know if they're more consistent today.
Are they still making Blizzard plastic?
Yeah, they still have
sure.
Starlight is basically what Innova calls their stuff that's 150 and under. I may have a few of those Disc Golf Guy stamped Starlight destroyers, for instance. They call them Starlight, and then they still have Blizzard plastic as well. I don't know if that consistency has now leveled out or not, but that seemed like, because I remember, I think specifically, like one of the first ever discs that I got that was Blizzard. I'm like, oh, I've got this katana, and it was, I think, like 137, and it was more overstable than an Excalibur. I'm just like, how is this possible?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so
I've got some back there that with different bubbles and different plates and whatnot.
Cody says that he didn't find them to be consistent, and he's an Innova fanboy, but facts are facts.
Sure, and I can imagine it's very difficult when you're putting bubbles in flight or you're putting bubbles in the plastic in general and air pockets, and it can be inconsistent. I don't blame Innova for that.
Yeah, I do feel like the consistency within disc molding is incredibly finicky and difficult and challenging as it is, and then the reason Discraft forever was not making anything lightweight because they couldn't find a consistent approach to doing it. And I don't know what clicked or how they got it all figured out, but for the longest time, there were very few, hardly any Discraft discs that had that were lightweight at all.
Because I remember when we went to the Japan Open, and
you were looking for replacements for. There was no
looking,
such thing as a 150 class Buzz.
Well, it wasn't just that. Like the Buzz was one thing. I wanted a 150 class magnet because I wanted to putt with a magnet at the time, and that you couldn't get one. And if you did, you had to spend a lot of money to find one, which is funny because I have like a 110 magnet, which is a preemie.
Yeah, preemie.
But I could not get like a 150 to a 160 class magnet to save my life. So I ended up going with, I think an AVR I bought when I was there. Went to Japan Open and just bought some discs. Cool. I know I brought a few of them, but I think I bought my putters when I was there and just used those.
Ulysses says one of my most stable wraiths is 137 grams. Good morning, Thomas Lundquist, who says it's on. Good morning from Oslo, home of the number 1 and number 10 most used courses in the world.
Well, congratulations. Go out and get a round in for us. It's probably a little chilly there, but
good morning. Hope you're doing well. Love us. What Norway is should be 7 a.m. I'm guessing where you are right now.
Aaron Foster says, who do you guys think the next big brand to challenge, say, an Innova or Discraft? So I would say right now, Discraft has, and I don't know actual sales numbers, so neither of us do, but they feel like they're the bigger brand right now, at least internally.
Sure.
Who knows what's going on externally with your Dick's Sporting Goods and all these other things? You know, I'm sure no one right now in our sport is hurting for cash. But it wouldn't shock me if in 3 or 5 or 7 years, Innova makes a perceived comeback to be the leader in our sport again. But if you're talking outside of those two, I think
Latitude, Discmania, MVP.
No.
Okay.
I think I think we'd see someone from outside the sport. I think someone would come in. We'll just say a big name like a Franklin, or
they make the best disc
I know,
right now.
or a Whammo. I just think that Innova and Discraft have such a lock on our market, as we've seen, that you're not going to see anybody from inside the sport right now be able to match them. That it will take someone from outside of our sport to come in and, you know, have a line of plastic. Like, oh, guess what? I'm just going to throw it out there. Nike comes out and says, cool, we've got these golf discs, even though I don't think they're producing much sporting goods, so to speak, anymore. You know, they're kind of sticking with shoes, and I don't think they do many golf clubs anymore. I think they kind of killed that aspect of their company. I would think it would be an outside company, but if I had to pick an inside company, I feel like MVP. Like, I feel like they've got enough line of plastic. There's so many gyro heads out there, and if they were to grab, we'll just say, an Ezra, if Ezra goes there, and Ezra has the next 2 to 3 years, he wins a world championship or two, and does it. I think you could see Innova kind of start to jump up into that, see MVP jump up into that echelon. I don't know if they'll ever pass him, but that would be probably my next guess. But you could say that about almost any of those brands, though. Like,
yeah,
you could say the same thing if this scenario happened. If Ezra went to DD and he won 2 world championships out of the next 3 years, that whatever plastic he's hucking would be great. And
I personally,
it's tough.
I personally think when it comes to the manufacturing, the molds, the capabilities, the resources, and just really everything from start to finish, I think Latitude is your next contender in that space, because it seems like they have so many things are already dialed in, and then it's just a matter of ramping up
production.
Not even just production. I don't think production's the problem.
It's just weird to feel like. I feel like I know they're not. I feel like Latitude is such a small brand.
Yeah, I don't know why you feel that way.
But they do plastic for a lot of people, like DD, Discmania, which is why I feel like the Latitude side, like the actual discs, your Latitude, whatever, is so small, especially over here in the U.S. Compared to other brands. Now, clearly, they have their fingers kind of like our guest tonight. They've got their fingers in a lot of different cookie jars in our sport. So they're making discs for other manufacturers. I mean, I'm not denying that it couldn't be Latitude, but I don't know.
Galactic Conqueror says, I see more and more MVP in SoCal. They are certainly. Patrick says Prodigy. I mean, obviously Prodigy has a ton of big stars. And then, you know, it goes down to we have a little bit of a regional bias, only in the fact that Prodigy is not as prevalent here in Wisconsin as it is in our neighboring state in Minnesota, where Kale is. So every that obviously influences us just a little bit. Just like if you were in SoCal, you'd probably almost exclusively see Innova and Legacy. And so, it can be very regional in terms of, I think you go to Tennessee, I'm assuming, with the likes of Heather Young and Chris Dickerson and Will Schusterick, with his roots there and all that other stuff, I would assume. So it can be a lot more regional in that sense.
That was big news we didn't even talk about. Will Schusterick resigned from the board.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Yeah, he put out a statement yesterday saying
Oh, okay.
he has officially resigned from the Pdga board. God, I can't believe we didn't even mention it.
It's funny. I can't believe it actually.
That
when,
you missed it.
Yeah, I flat out
went
missed
over
it.
your head like Rico.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Will Schusterick basically put out I say the word basically a lot. I got to stop that. Will Schusterick put out a press release saying that he's resigning from the Pdga board of directors because of family issues.
Mm-hmm.
It only makes sense. I know they've had their issues with their son, I believe it is, their small son who
preemie.
Preemie, and has needed surgery coming up. I'm not exactly sure which it is. Plus, you throw in the fact that he was probably not going to be able to be on the board for another year after this anyway. It kind of makes sense. It's unfortunate because I don't feel like he went in knowing that he had limited time. So I was hoping that we would see a whirlwind of ideas and things like, hey, I only have this much time. I want to get something done. And we didn't get that out of him. And that's not his fault, so to speak. That's just life. Life happened to him. So I'm a little disappointed in that. But it means we'll get to have another board of directors.
Probably appointment in this case?
Yeah, and more than likely an appointment. And then, I don't know.
Well, we'll see how that pans out here. But no, I did not mention it myself because I did not see it. But I am seeing a lot of pictures by Trish and by Will, and it seems like each and every day their son continues to grow and flourish and continue. The whole, I'll say process, but everything seems to be headed in the right direction. So of course we continue to wish them, the entire family, nothing but the best of luck. Thought Space Athletics. Wow, that's a mouthful for me. I know has a couple of discs. I in fact watched a guy throwing one this weekend, and I believe they've had manufacturing done by MVP to then produce their line of discs, and so we'll see how that continues to grow as well. I mean, when I think you're going to be always somewhat limited to take over any large dominating force in the market if you are not physically producing your own discs, because you're always going to be at the whim of your own manufacturer or the other manufacturer. That's where a Discraft who makes their own discs, and Innova who makes their own discs, and MVP who makes their own, and Latitude, as does Prodigy and Legacy. I'm just saying, like, when you have some of correct me if I'm wrong, please. I don't believe AGL molds their own discs. I don't believe Mint molds their own discs, and a Thought Space Athletics or an Infinite. When you're not molding your own discs, you're going to always be subject to somebody else's machine time. Even if you're paying them a lot, you're still always subject to somebody else's machine time. So that's why I don't see you becoming, a majority of the market share with that limitation. I mean, you got to start somewhere, and maybe they grow into their own molding. But that's why I don't see someone else not being able to do that. Gateway molds AGL, as Kendall is saying out on the board. So thank you. To place.
Do you think digital is the next, I know it sounds silly, but do you think digital is the next big step in disc manufacturing? Like adding RFID chips or, scan.
I was going to go as far as like even digital printing of some kind.
Oh, like 3D printing type thing? It's possible. Just the plastic, right now the plastic for 3D printing is
not
it's
conducive
not
to
conducive.
that.
Yeah. You get kind of, I don't want to say, you get trash. You get a trash disc is what you'd get. It would not be sturdy. It would basically take one hit and then just be just destroyed. I'm just wondering if if that's really the next big thing that like every manufacturer is going to kind of try to jump on at some point.
You do wonder, because you see the trends. Just to spitball a few of them, you've seen everything from the stamping process, whatever the full color, in color, Dymax. You've seen that kind of came in with fury for a little while. Then you saw the burst and the molding, the halo stuff. That process by Innova, of course, very popular right now. We've seen metal flakes, we've seen sparkles, shimmers, transitional plastic blends. I mean, everyone's, I think, is just trying to continue to mold and innovate in those ways now. Like you said, will there be a technology that gets us to the next step? That's a good question.
See, and I think that you're going to see it won't be, I think you're going to start off as more of a disc, like a practice disc, that's going to be able to register specific things in your throw. Like, hey, you buy this disc. It's a $30,
like a training disc.
Yeah, it's a $30 or $40 disc, and it has the piece in it. It'll tell you your angle of release, the speed at which it's thrown, the rotation. It'll give you all that information, but it won't be PDGA legal. That's my guess. That's the first thing we're going to see. So people can walk up, scan it with their phone. All right, oh wow, I threw it 73 miles an hour that time, as opposed to I haven't been able to break 72, and maybe you can even do distances with it, even though I think that would be difficult. You could do that with UDisc as it is. I think that's going to be a big product in the next 5 years. And then at some point, the equipment will be small enough that you can put it right into the mold, right into the injection mold.
Yeah.
And then have some of that stuff. But I just don't see I don't see being able to do that in the PDGA legal disc for a little while yet.
But doing that is legal right now.
It is.
But we haven't seen anyone come to fruition with it.
Yeah, I just don't think that it works as well for like the actual flight of the disc. Because you can try to put it on the bottom, but then you've kind of got a little spot in the bottom of your disc in the middle, like a bulb. You can try to put it in the flight plate, but then you're kind of messing with the weight of the disc in the flight plate. It would have to be extremely flat and put it right in the dead center of the middle of your flight plate in order for it to even. And I just don't think we're quite there yet. That's why I think it's going to be more of like a practice disc that people are going to sell.
Well, good thing there's
or an adapter. Like you can stick this on the bottom of a disc, and then it's no longer PDGA legal, and it just gives you all that information. And maybe it's not as much. Maybe then it's only $25 or something along those lines.
Well, good thing there are people far smarter than you and I that are will probably work on some of that.
More than likely.
And we'll see when it does come out, or it. Yeah, I mean, I agree. It is just a matter of when and how much of that is a priority. I think you're going to need a very research-based mentality of somebody that even wants it.
Oh, I think
you know what I mean. Like I personally don't think.
No,
I'll just throw it out there. Like, I don't think Legacy cares about putting an RF chip or any of that information inside a disc right now. I think it almost has to generate from somebody who's doing their college thesis that wants to then get the technology developed to then integrate it in a disc because they found disc golf 2 years ago. That's how I think it will come about.
Like a lot of things, it will take one manufacturer to do it and it sell decent, and then every manufacturer will jump on it. But which is why I think it's best as a third-party device that you stick to the bottom, that you find a way to adhere to it. The problem with that as well is, say you have we'll just call it $20 adapter you stick to the bottom of your disc. When you throw it and it pops off and you lose your $20 adapter, hopefully you can find it with your phone app, but you need a good way to really truly secure it. Now, maybe that is a mount that you really do secure and something that just turns and locks in. That could be an option that would possibly work, which is again why I say I think this will be a third-party device to start out with until we can shrink things.
And people have tried that.
They have, and it just hasn't caught on. I don't think it's been it's worked out. But with the way our sport is growing right now, and the way people are already using UDisc, and the way people are really, everything is on your phone. Why wouldn't you want, imagine being able to go out to a field and just do your practice round and kind of look at it like, oh, wow, I was able to throw X amount of speed. I think that type of, you start to put together some graphs and statistics. I would see that as a big seller.
Count how many times the disc hits the ground during your putting routine.
And I wanted to laugh at me too. So at one point.
Earlier, I know there was some conversation about who's making whose molds and such. And I think the point was driven home. But yes, Innova does not mold legacy discs. In fact, I think there's even been some stories or Instagrams with Steve Rico specifically pulling discs out of the machine over there at the legacy shop. I've seen it. It's also all very cool to see. And then I think we talked about it a few weeks ago, the latitude, how to make a disc, that they had done 3 or 4 or 6 minute video, whatever it was very cool as well. So, if you want to see the process, I guess my point is, and if you want to see how Vibram discs were made, there's a Disc Golf Guy video blog for that, which was a very cool thing to see for myself because it's not injection molding like all of our other discs are made. It's a very different process. They literally, long story short, they basically take a chunk of rubber and set it in between, a really strong press and then flatten it out, and there's your disc. And so nothing like what you see from our plastics that are done out there. All right, I'm seeing if there's anything else on the board. It doesn't look like we have much else other than all you guys chit-chatting, which is awesome to see. He says, that's okay. I had mentioned that just from hearing someone say that Legacy had bought molds from Innova. I'll go ahead and dispel that as well. That has not been the case.
I know some of the very early molds from Legacy were slightly based on some Innova
Oh, of
discs.
course.
Yeah,
but then again, what disc isn't?
Exactly. I mean, I know Steve really likes the T-Bird, but he also really likes the magnet, and so you can see some influence there for some of those discs. But no, the actual molds themselves were never...
Were not purchased outright. So I'm just going to keep beating you down as you keep posting. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, and a big shout out. Steve Rico was pouring new T-pads at the Sapwi Trails disc golf course in Thousand Oaks, California this week. Yeah, that
what
also...
does that guy know about concrete?
I know. I think I did see that just today as well. So huge shout out to those guys. I'm guessing it was an entire... family and crew and effort out there, and he just posted about a beautiful picture of a brand new T-pad out there today. I saw, so awesome to see that for sure. And yes, Arobi does have unique discs. So we're gonna close things out. I'll give one last shout out. Excited to be at the Shelly Sharp this weekend. Hopefully, we're gonna get some coverage turned around as quickly as we can. The first A tier of the year. It is the Vista del Camino course, which is the same course and very similar layout to what you've seen for the Memorial the last few years. Johnny mentioned a few of the studs that are going to be competing, and very much looking forward to watching some high-level golf. Feels like it's been a minute, and I've seen some good golf, but I'm ready to be in Arizona and watching good golf and hopefully bring you guys some coverage on the Disc Golf Guy channel. Can't guarantee it'll be next day, but we're going to fight for that. We're going to try and make some of that happen. That might require some in-house commentary, but I think that'll be worth it so that you guys can be watching fresh golf each day. And if you're a Patreon subscriber to that channel, to my channel as well, I do greatly appreciate it. That's really the only way that coverage, this bonus coverage, is able to be brought to you. And if you need a plug or a shout out or want to support that, reach out to me as well. We can fit you into the coverage. Okay, so we're gonna close it out. This has been podcast episode 332. Of course, our infamous after show. We thank you guys all for joining us. We're looking forward to it. Maybe we'll have the Shelly Sharp winner or winners join us next week, Tuesday night, for podcast 333. For Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, have a great night. We'll see you next week when you step inside the Smash Box.